All right, I know everybody's eager to get started and eager to get this hackathon rolling. Right now, I think we're at about T minus 20 minutes. All right, so if anyone has questions, I'm going to go monitor the wall, and I'm going to turn it to Melora real quick and see if there's anything else we want to confront before we get started.
You're muted.
Laura, you're muted.
Nobody told me I was muted. I can't believe it. I had a great speech. You guys all missed every bit. It was so inspirational. It's amazing.
Yay!
Yay, thank you.
We'll have to take your word for that.
Nobody told me I was muted. Okay, so I had a great speech. You guys all missed every bit. Oh, now I'm hearing feedback, so I'm guessing the live stream has volume now. Okay. Excellent. So our live stream seems to be up and running. It seems like there is a slight delay. So you are going to have to decide once we break out into the rooms, you might as well just mute your main Zoom feed and pay attention to the actual overall live stream. Coaches, beginning around 11 today, and again, this is a little bit of a loose timing, but we're going to be doing some quick interviews. The Dom King's gonna be there, I'll be there, and just keep an eye on your actual breakout room. You'll get a message that's saying you're being summoned back to the main room for the interview. All the interviews will happen back in our main Zoom room. So you're gonna get sent to your breakout rooms, but starting around 11, we're gonna pull out some coaches. We also have a special guest interview at 11, and so please stay tuned for that. Again, that'll be on the live stream. I know when we did this original meeting, we said we were going to have a real halftime, but based on how much we have to get through, and I know how dedicated these teams are, we're not going to actually pause for the halftime. So you're going to want to listen along with the live stream. We're going to move it to be about 10:15 a.m. where we're going to start doing a capital defense showcase. So we're going to show off a few of the projects that came in. Overwhelmingly great projects. I mean, I can't, you guys did a phenomenal job. I gotta say, I gotta give it up for everybody. It was the hardest decision we've had to make so far. We had to develop a voting system just to kind of keep track of how many good projects there were and how we were gonna really assess them. So we're going to showcase some of them, and then we're going to give some prizes away, announce the winner of the team banners and the team logos, which were also awesome. So many creative things coming through our submissions this week. So we're going to get those things going this afternoon again, or I mean, it feels like afternoon. It's all going to be in the morning. Our goal is to wrap up around 12:15, 12:30. If you haven't been in this competition before, you'll see that there is a timer going that's showing how much time is left in the competition. What'll happen is at some point when the map closes, that'll mean it's closed for submissions. You cannot submit anything else. There may be projects still waiting in the queue for the mentors to review. So we'll all come back to the main room and we'll watch the final judgments happening. As soon as the final judgments are done, the winner of the event will be displayed. We do normally are able to give you the trophy live. Since that is not possible right now, we will be setting up whoever wins this competition will be coordinating with the coach and admin so that we can come and present your team with the trophy and the prizes that come with it. Same with everybody else who was given prizes for banners or logos or their capital defense project. Those prizes will also be going out to the schools right after this event. So a little different, and then we can't all be together live for that, but I think we can still make it a lot of fun when we receive our prizes. All right, so we're at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to turn this back over to our host, Deb. You ready? Nope, Deb's
Yep,
not.
I'm ready.
Okay,
So just going back and forth between the question real quick. I'm going to share my screen in just 1 second. All right, let's see if this works. All right, so everybody should be looking. Okay, so everybody should be looking at my screen right now and seeing the current version of the map from my admin perspective. And just so we're all on the same page, it's probably self-explanatory, but let's just cover this real quick. Everyone's going to start off on a capital territory. Those capital territories are koi fish. Every single, it doesn't really matter where your position is a koi fish. Imagine that they're stacked vertically. You all are equidistant from the landmass. And the west-facing territories that are directly adjacent to those capitals are going to be your initial conquest options. In order to move through the map, you have to possess a territory that touches another territory. And you will see as we open up the map, you first get on the map, and then you can start moving around and seizing the territories by accomplishing the objectives of each territory challenge. The objective is to hold as many territories as you possibly can. All right, we're going to go through this for the entire duration of the event with project submissions coming in towards those territory challenges. Judges will be evaluating it. They have a series of criteria that they'll be looking at and making decisions based on that. I'm purposely not introducing the judges yet, not for any reason other than just to keep the integrity of who's who a little bit in the background. We have some fantastic judges, some of our Kiddoyo mentors who put in a tremendous amount of effort to not only check challenges, but to make themselves available to you and young learners of multiple ages. And so most of them are computer science students at the university level. All right, and so they're going to be in the background working with our team at Kiddoyo and evaluating these project submissions as you go. When we get to the final 30 minutes, for anyone who does not currently hold a territory, you are going to be vulnerable to what's called a capital attack. And that's why you've created your capital defense projects. Those capital defense projects will be loaded to your capital territory, and teams that are attacking you will try to defeat your capital defense project with a project of their own design. Now that's challenging in and of itself. We have had some capital attacks work in previous years, but it's only going to be available in the final 30 minutes. And I will also just make sure everyone knows, in order to make a capital attack, you're going to have to hold one of the western facing coastline territories, because those are the only territories that actually can reach towards the capital territories. All right, you have to hold the territory that can touch the capitals. So it kind of works in reverse from the way we begin the game. All right, and we'll go through, and at the end of the day, we will declare a winner. Now, we have this event. This is the third year that we've been running the middle school hackathon, and in both previous years, the winner was determined in the last 5 minutes of the competition. So while this is 3 hours of hacking and you're going to be creative and writing code all day, it is likely that we're going to come to the very end and the winner will be determined in the final minutes of competition. So I will say, one of the things you just want to get yourself mentally prepared for as the starting line approaches is really, you know, as programmers, you all know that we start off writing a program and it rarely works when we first conceive of it. Well, today we're going to be doing a lot of that. All right, so failing forward with enthusiasm, staying focused as team captains, making sure that your team is dispersed on projects that make sense for the strategy that you are executing. Everybody might come up with their own movement strategy. There are some strategic territories on the map that give you access to other territories in unique ways. And there is a document on the homepage, which if I go there real quick, if you look over into the announcement sections on the right-hand side, you're going to see a territory movement reference. All right, so you should check that out if you haven't seen it yet. That's going to show you your neighbor relations between these territories and how you can move and leverage the territory mechanics to your advantage. All right, so we're at 13 minutes and 30 seconds currently. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to post them on the wall, or you can unmute yourself and we'll do our best to field those as well. Okay.
Let me just add to, so as we all know, we should be logged into the ccedu.oyoclass.com account. If you're not already logged into that community, you won't be seeing this map view that everybody else is seeing. Once you're in, you'll click on apps, you'll go to Code Conquest, and you should see that you are an active player in this map. If anybody's having any trouble, you can just tag us, in the chat. Also, you may tag me or Dev or Trish for any issues that you have. You could tag them on the wall in the CCEDU community as well. Please try not to tag any of the other mentors. They won't be responding to you. They will be actively judging. So any mentor disputes or anything like that, you may ask for Dev to come to your breakout room and he can discuss what your objections might be. And work through any of that with you. But please don't tag any of the mentors directly for any kind of dispute against territory information or anything like that. It won't be answered and we won't be able to help you.
That's true. And just a couple mechanics. Keep in mind, all project submissions must be made from within the CCEDU domain. If you use your school domain to submit projects, they will not be accepted. And you'll have the chance to resubmit them, but time being of the essence, you might not want to have that delay work against your strategy. All right, so make sure you're using the CCEDU to originate all projects. Trying to think if there's anything else mechanically that just needs reiterating. Oh, over here on the right-hand side, right now, you'll see it says open full combat log. As this event starts to take place, you're going to see this column fill up with what we call territory attack log. All right, so this is going to have two insignias, two little icons show up. One's going to be a sword and one's going to be a shield. If you see a shield, it means the defending project of the territory one. If you see a sword, it means the attacking project of the territory one. You are always able to open that full combat log, and for captains, this might be something you want to just take into your strategy. All right, looking at what is currently holding the territory and also looking at what has defeated previous submissions will all be visible in that combat log. That way you can start to plan out what's it going to take for us to win any individual territory and put your efforts where you think they are most valuable. All right, because sometimes we'll get some territories that get captured at a very high level of project and people start routing around those and strategically going after easier to obtain territories. All right. So with that, I think we are at the point now where I'm going to turn it over to the MC Dom King to start introducing teams. Are you ready, Dom King?
I am ready. The hack is back. Welcome to Code Conquest 2021. I thank you, Devin, for having me today. And we're very excited. We've got a great day planned for everybody. And let us announce the teams and who's here today to compete for Code Conquest 2021. Starting us off, it'll be the Ramites of Merrick Avenue, led by their captain, Turtles, with Jake, AJ.comex, Master Code 99, Blank, I am Ethan, and Nicholas Becker, led by their coaches, Dr. Caliendo and Papa Stiggs.
Woohoo! All right.
Welcome, the Belmore Merrick Ramites. Coming up next, the Grand Gamers of Grand Avenue, also from Belmore Merrick. Belmore Merrick's done a great job getting ready for this. They're led by their captain, Daniel, with BC 2008. Isabella 26. Cosm MC. Ben Stone, the Corrupted Turkey. Ian, Joseph, led by their coach, Dr. Soul, with Tech Teach. Your East Williston Wildcat Hackers. We're excited to introduce them.
You've got plenty of time, Matt, because I just reset the timer just to give us a little more, and I'm going to start this manually as we get done with the teams, and everybody will get ready with that. Okay.
You got it. Led by their captain, the East Williston Wildcat Hackers. Their captain, Dyer, with Mrs. Stiles, A. Person, Cooper, Brandon, D. Rec, Stephen 34, and the King Coder, led by their coach, Dr. Bieberman. Your East Williston Wildcat Hackers.
Go East
Mineola
Williston.
Masterminds. The Mineola Masterminds take no prisoners. They reminded us that in their announcement here. Led by their coach, led by their captain, Jay Chavex, with one torch, Enio 4, Banana 22, the Kermit the Frog, another person, Samurai Monica, with Pizza 516, led by their coach, Coy Clifford, and Ms. Goldfarb. Your Mineola Masterminds. Next, we're going to welcome the Crash Test Dummies of Locust Valley. The Crash Test Dummies are led by their captain, Alex, with Zeke, Von Gengbrew, Bringer of Chaos, with Coder, with Rain, with Mr. Nugent, and of course, led by their coach, LV Coach Lee. Your Locust Valley Crash Test Dummies. The man, this is one of my favorite names on the sheet here today. The man paid for Hackset potatoes.
It's the man Hackset potatoes.
Yeah, the fourth threw me for a loop there. All
Yeah,
right.
I know. I had to chime in for you.
Thank you. Thank you. So led by their coach, Jay Laxer, the SKBR Queen, Rocky, Benny Boy, the Human Being, Atomic 107, Snow Puff, the Greek Code Freak, and led by their coach, Mr. Mashburn. Give it up for the Manhaxet Potatoes. Coming up next, we're going to welcome the ESM Hackers. The ESM Hackers are led by their captain, Catfish, with Pickle, Frog, Peppermint, Jill Roz, Popcorn, Cat, and of course, the Bat, with their coach, Coach Manez. That's your ESM Hackers. Coming up next, we're going to introduce a team that really needs no introduction in the world of coding. We're talking about the SIO Code of Southwoods, led by their captain, ABBA, with WUBIU9, with Power Overwhelming, with Big Stonks, with Mellow Jello. That might be my favorite name, by the way, today. Mellow Jello, with Bambi Boots, Something That Exists, and The Comrade, led by their head coach, Miss Burke, and with the SIO Code Fokianos. Your SIO Code from Southwoods. Coming up next, we have the Harbor Field Hackers. Just give it a second. Getting there.
Do you like have to walk over to them or something to get there? What's going on? The Dom King. Dom King is
Trying
notorious.
to kill time here. I'm coming up with as this loads up. All right, the Harborfield Hackers are led by their captain, Random Person, with John of Harborfields, with the Samurai Pumpkins, with Blow Up Kishiba, with Liam, the Duck, the Pugmaster, and Joey A, led by their coach, Karpensky, and Mrs. Aarons. Your Harborfield Hackers. Welcome next, the Improbable Monkeys. The improbable probability while still being
Let's
quite
go.
probable now with 3,942% more monkeys. So the funky monkey themselves, the Improbable Monkeys,
Let's go.
led by their captain, Brass Monkey, with Codemaster L, Brass Monkey 2, Jonah F, the B Rangers Nix, Luke P, and Spaceman Gabe with Papa Stigs. Your Improbable Monkeys. The Bethpage Cyber Eagles, led by Flan, with Bushi Suzuki Uchiwama, with Shimun Bubi, with Samurai J, with Little P, with Jaxolotl, and the Sukamono, led by Kiyoshi Atard and Kochi Maloney. Your Bethpage Cyber Eagles. Coming up next, the HBT Pythons of Syosset.
Reigning champs.
The reigning champs, again, need no introduction. With UWUBR, their captain, with Info, with Nero, with Fun Team, with the Bench Enthusiast, with Squeegs, with Johnny, and with Table Enthusiast, led by Coach Herbal, with the SIO code Fokianos again helping out, and Coach Casciotto. Your HBT Pythons, your reigning champions. Coming up next, we're going to introduce the KP Keystrokes of Kings Park. You have to give a little pause after you introduce the HBT Pythons because of their dominance in this game.
Gotcha. That's what I was thinking, just a little
Yes,
bit of
exactly.
bowing or something.
Exactly. So your KP Keystrokes, led by their captain, yes, with Ace, with Anthony Baguette, with Lofi, with JSS 1734, with Hacker Wolf, with Skycraft, and with WTRMS, led by their coach, Mr. Cruz. Your KP Keystrokes. Your Hopog Golden Eagles. And they want everyone to know to insert something funny here. I think that was just what was supposed to be put in that spot. Anyway, led by their head coach, the Golden Eagle, with the Golden Feather, with the Tomahawk, with Pico, with the Taco Man, with Gold Donut Gamer, with Golden Owl, and with Golden Dora, led by Sensei Ferrara, Miss Thompson, and the Mullinator. Your Hop Hog Golden Eagles. Coming up next, from West Hempstead, hashtag RamFam, the Hacking Houdinis, led by Daisy Dabs 07, Infrognito, Magic Mike, Dr. Rick Tovin 1935, Anonymous Guitar Player, Zorak 325, Overblown Caesar, and the Grizzly Bear, led by Coach Perlo West. And last, but certainly not least, again from Belmore Merrick, who's done a tremendous job getting ready for this competition, the Grand.exe of BM Grand Avenue, led by their captain, Human, with Mark P, with Benji Boy, with Drew Romanek, 25, with the J Master, with Evan, with Autumn, with Jack L, and led by your Tech Teach.
Hey, we
Those
missed
are
one-
your contestants for the
we missed one,
2021
Matt.
Code
we missed
Conquest.
one on the SIO HBT team, which is semicolon O semicolon. Just one player we missed on the SIO HBT. Welcome.
Welcome. All right, and I will now turn it back over to Melora. Welcome to Code Conquest 2021.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, teams. This is the big moment. Dev, you ready?
We are ready. So everyone's going to be going to their breakout rooms. You should get ready at your computers, as I am going to stop the countdown timer imminently, and the event will begin. As soon as the countdown timer leaves the screen, you will be able to start your territory attacks in earnest. Get ready.
And for districts, participants who are here, who are not a coach or a team, you can stay behind here in this Zoom with us. We're going to still be live streaming, talking about some of the map stuff, and off go the teams. All right, the teams are gone, the judges are gone, and do we know who this B Nix Ranger is in there? One person not left.
30 seconds until game start.
Okay, so if you do not have your team name next to your name, we're having a hard time splitting you out to your room. You might not be in your breakout room if you did not change your Zoom name.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're still trying to get a few people set out to their rooms.
The game has now begun.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck, judges. All right, so for those of you who are brand new, if you're still here with us, what you're gonna see is on the main wall here on the main screen, and we're gonna be streaming this out, you'll start to see the competitions taking place. As the teams take over a territory, that territory will turn the color of the team. You'll also see on the right-hand side of the screen a battle log, and you'll be able to see as the attacks and defends are happening. So if you see a shield, that is a successful defense of a territory, and if you see a sword between, that means that the attack was successful. Okay, so we've got one student who is waiting to get into the breakout room info, going to SIO HBT and help get them in there.
Okay, now as this begins, you're going to see numbers pop up on territories. Those numbers will be the number of territory attacks that are pending on that territory. As attacks come into the judges, they get queued in the order of their submission. Results will populate on the map in the order of that submission. So while a Python project may take longer to evaluate than a sprite design project, the sprite design will not populate on the map until after the Python project if the Python project was submitted first. So it's got an order of precedence to keep the game flowing in an accurate way. But you'll see those numbers start to show up, and after results have been rendered, you'll start to see the battle log, the combat log over here on the right fill up with results as well. Teams are just now seeing territory challenges for the first time. Prior to this event beginning, each capital territory was revealed with a challenge for the capital defense project, and teams were able to work for 72 hours on those capital defense projects. Those are the only projects that are allowed to be created before the event. All other projects must be created during the hackathon. That's in the spirit of a hackathon. We come together and during the duration of our hackathon is when we are creating our work. So anything you see populating on these territories that we show off is going to be something that was created in the timeline of this event. And we have our first territory attack showing up. Up here in W1, Ushida.
You know, I will say too, what we have a couple of side competitions that are running. So we wanted to add some more focus on some of the creative art that is done during these competitions. Sometimes it goes unseen because we pay so much attention to the coding part of it, and you know, the computer science and logic and everything that the kids are doing. But we all know when we use technology and when we're looking at apps and websites, we tend to go towards the things that look good, that our eyes feel welcomed to: color, balance, proportion, just even the placement of where things are in a visual space. And what we saw coming in this year from the kids and over the years has been more and more attention put to that, which really puts that big A inside of the STEAM component, which we've always been huge fans of adding the stress to art in STEM. So this year what we did was we created a couple of extra competitive components to this. So we have a team banner competition. You can see that if you go to ccedu.oyoclass.com, and there's a team banners link. You can see all of the awesome banners that were submitted. We're going to be doing some prize giveaways for that. We also, as you can see where the teams are lined up over here on the left, they have a little avatar or their team logo displaying next to it. And those are all originally created by the students as well. So that was part of the competition. You know, having done this for so many years has given us that experience of, wow, look at all of this effort and look at that effort put in. And it's given us some new things to pay attention to in terms of wanting to have a competition for those. In addition, this year with the capital defense projects, we took those in, we gave the teams 72 hours for those capital defense projects to be created. They were announced on Tuesday, the definition of the project. And then the teams could really interpret it any way they wanted. They could use any tool, any app, any language, and create a project that would meet this criteria. It was close to impossible to judge this. We had everything from, pixel art projects come in to full-blown interactive websites coming in, the storytelling, the student artwork. It was off the charts. And I can say when we started doing this, you know, Kidoyo has been around since 2006. It's hard to believe since it's older than a lot of the kids that are even in our platform right now. So we've been around since 2006. And since that first time of introducing the first lines of code to the students to now, I feel really good about where Long Island is going in terms of the talent that we have coming off the island now. These kids are literally top level talent. When we go into university settings and we have our college mentors sitting down next to some of these students coming out, they're constantly blown away and sometimes intimidated by what they're seeing because it's unexpected. I made a comment on Twitter maybe this past week or the week before that just has resonated in my own mind is it's good to see what these kids look like in the physical space because they're still young and tiny. But in the digital space, they're giants and their skills are huge. And this really gives them an opportunity to showcase that. And we're super excited for that to be happening. So
Well, Laura, what are some of the things that the judges will be looking for that might not be necessarily in the rules, but something that would be an interesting fact for the people who are watching at home?
So for the judges, this entire event is really we use the term creative computing hackathon, and so they're looking for really just a full exploration of creativity. You know, when we run events ourselves and do our own direct teaching, you know, there's different types of skills that show up when you're in programming, and some of the more old school CS, speaking for myself a little bit here, you know, it can be something where we're very adept at writing code, and you know, art is not necessarily something that jumps to the front of our minds as an important feature. But in an event like this, the synthesis of art and creativity into the code becomes one of the delineating factors that makes a team stand out. So you're going to start to see some of the projects that come in here are a collaboration between some team members that may be stronger on the writing of the code side and others that may be stronger on the art, and working together in teamwork, communication, captains leading their teams to effective workflow. It all starts to come into play in how the projects evolve for judges to see.
Dev, can you tell us what's going on right now on the map?
Yes. So what you see on the map here is we have our first territory victory by the HBT Pythons. And this was a territory with the Olympics coming up in Japan. It was to create a advertising brochure using, I believe, any tool or language. Let's go look here. Yep, any tool or language to create an Olympics advertisement, and HBT was the first submission on the map. And so now we see a rendering of that. And for some reason on our public view map, some of our icons are not showing up. But that was a sword in the middle there. It's visible on my view.
I'm thinking since I have seen mentor Mike dip, he is actively working on that. He's likely got a bug.
The screen is shared. I thought I was.
Doug.
It's his screen.
Okay.
Yeah, so what you see here is the winner was you can see the HBT team's logo on the left side. A sword in the middle means they were the attacking team. And that was a vacant territory. All territories are vacant at the start. So as long as the first submission achieves the criteria of the challenge, then it's going to win that territory. And then subsequent I guess, attacks will have to defeat the holding territories project. So now we're starting to see additional territory attacks pop up across the west side of the island. And obviously there's going to be some that are very popular. We've got 4 pending attacks happening currently on the territory that looks like a giant gamer's thumb. And this one is a sprite editor project creating an animation. So we'll get to see a little bit of that, and I'll click in as we go.
That's a big opening move. Big opening move by HBT up top there.
We have 8 current attacks on the map that judges are evaluating. There will always be a lag between the submissions and the judges, because obviously judges are doing a lot. They're not only evaluating the project, comparing them against other projects, they're evaluating source authenticity. One of the requirements of this competition is that the apps that are loaded to this event, everybody has to use these apps to equalize the playing field. And so if this helps us to make sure source authenticity is legitimate and that no one is using any open source code that someone else may have generated that doesn't represent their own work to put forth. So the judges are evaluating that a little bit in the background as well. And when they find a conflict, those will be omitted from the conquest. Going in.
Okay, we're just we're checking into a team issue. So Pamela, take it away.
You got it. You got it. So as Dev said, there's a lot of attacks going on currently. It's really important in these type of hackathons to put your due diligence in ahead of time, right? So make sure you're prepped, ready to roll. And you're seeing it right now on the way the map is already laying out this early into the competition. So as we said last year, it was really decided, oh, we have another takeover right now. Oh, and again, HBT jumping on it. Also see the Eagles, the Golden Eagles up there. So that's actually it's the Bethpage Eagles. So definitely a lot of moves going on here. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like HBT made a big move there, taking out the Eagles. This is when I'm gonna have to throw my glasses on to make sure I'm saying the right team here. Yeah, it's the Bethpage Cyber Eagles. So they jumped in on a territory. So HBT jumped right back in, jumped right back over the top of them. So a lot of stuff going on here. You got to keep an eye on the map. The map is going to move all through the competition. And again, we see some simultaneous attacks going on the west coast of Japan. You could see the spirit and you could feel the spirit of the samurai. So that was our theme today. Really solid, just a real solid feeling here. And you could see the excitement as everybody continues to pound away here on the keyboards to make this happen. Also, keep in mind that this is not our only hackathon this year. So you'll have to tune in again on April 9th when we're going to have the high school division, and then April 30th when we have the upper division. So really great slate of events coming down for Kid Oyo and the hackathon.
So in the spirit of failing forward, I think we just resolved one of our teams was having a little technical difficulty. This year we're a 100% virtual hackathon, Dom King. Normally we are physically present in the same room with everybody, so we're able to all use the same Wi-Fi and have equalized constraints. To make matters even more complicated this year, we got some students that are in school classrooms and others that are at home, and everyone's got different Wi-Fi constraints and firewalls and all of that kind of good stuff. So as a first-time virtual hackathon, we on our side are prepared trying to figure out and make sure we're one step ahead of any tech glitches. But obviously, not only are we failing forward here in terms of our territory conquest activities, but also in terms of having patience with technology generally, which sometimes we all know can glitch out on us. So we'll see how this all goes, but it looks like everything is rolling smoothly right now.
Wow, we got another big move on the map, Dev. Take a look at that.
Oh yeah, the gamer thumb territory. We have the KP keystrokes, I believe that is.
Yeah, it looks like the number in there too. It looks like that first thumb up there, we've got multiple attacks coming in on that. So it's currently being held by HBT. And we got 2 attackers trying to take it right back from them. Interesting, because you can really kind of see where people are feeling more comfortable hitting those territories. I don't know, maybe Doug, who's managing our map there, can hover over and show us what some of these tooltips are on the territories that are getting attacked, so we know, so the audience knows kind of what is it that's pulling those attacks towards them.
Looks like we got a good battle going on down there with the West Hempstead Houdinis taking on HBT. Not sure which territory that's in, but it looks like they're going straight at it.
Yes, this is the Japan Olympics advertisement. We got 2 pending attacks. We still have KP Keystrokes claimed the Toru Nagashi animation project, and there's still a territory attack coming at them. Meanwhile, oh, look at that, rapid fire. First, HBT had claimed their Japanese video game industry tribute project, but now the Bethpage Cyber Eagles have taken it from them in our first conflict. So you can see in our combat log, if I come back to the screen, you can see we have some, and Doug, you might want to refresh. Looks like some icons aren't resolving, but you'll see we have some successful defenses that have been taking place, with HBT Pythons defending against the Go Gamers from Grand, and then successful attacks having been made with Bethpage Cyber Eagles attacking HBT on a territory down at the bottom left corner, the small little island.
Nice. So what we're really seeing is we got 3 teams on the map right now. Now there's 15 territories along that west coast that can be directly attacked. Is that right, Dev?
That's right. There's 15 territories, 16 teams. So it's conflict right from the start. And Doug, can you go back and hover over that territory one more time you were just showing? I just want to show everybody the context of a challenge. So as you see here, this is our small island that the Cyber Eagles of Bethpage just seized, W14 Sawasaki. And in this territory challenge, it's any tool, any language, Japanese video game industry tribute project. Create a project as a tribute to the Japanese video game industry. This does not have to be a recreation of a game. It can be a tribute to a Japanese video game company like Sega and Nintendo, or even the industry as a whole. Most accurate, creative, and interesting project wins. So there's a lot of creative license in that. And the judges obviously have a very subjective view on some of the submissions that come in. I tell the student hackers is a little bit like voting on a gymnastics event in the Olympics, right? Somebody's going to pull off a double twist, triple flip, right? And they got to stick the landing, but the judges have to use that criteria to subjectively determine which competitor produced the best results. So we're going to see the attacker project comes in with their own URL of the project they've created in the app, and then the defenders project is there to stand against it.
Okay, we just saw 2 more movements on the map. I see the Ramites are on the board.
Oh, wow, look at that. So it just turned over. All right, so now it's being held by the Ramites. And who just came on? Grand Ave. Okay, nice.
A lot of activity going on right now, a lot of movement. You know, Dev, just a quick question on that too, is with so many open territories on that West Coast, what, as far as strategy goes, what is your thoughts on going after an occupied territory versus going after a vacant territory?
Yeah, this is where the captain becomes a vital resource for the team. They are really leading the communication amongst their team members and knowing what skill sets they have on their team. You might find that some teams will feel very proficient in a language like Python. Other teams might feel very proficient in a language like Scratch. And so priorities of where they move will be affected by what types of skills are on that team. And then you have a time commitment to keep in mind as well when you're evaluating a territory challenge. Some projects may take a little bit longer to achieve the minimum criteria. And so you're making a guess on where is it best to strategically put your time. Do I go after this project that requires a little bit more, might be a higher bar for others to defeat me? Or do I go after the quick hits and face the confrontation of others also thinking that way? So a little bit of strategy involved here. And looks like we've got another turnover with the Ramites taking the Japan advertisement of the Olympics up in the north on the west side.
Looks like we've got our first East Coast attack too. So we've got, in order to attack the East Coast here, you have to be bordering that territory. There are a couple key strategic territories that if you hold, unlock other regions of the map that only that territory can unlock. So the teams really should be exploring that strategy link in the community itself. We have resources posted in the announcement section for the teams, and one of them is really how the map itself is laid out strategically, from which territories are bordering and able to take over another territory. I will say, it's early on in the competition. We're going to see these colors change many times throughout. We have a playback feature, which we'll post, and it'll let you see it in real time, how the map actually unfolded and how many times it changed hands. I think last year when we were looking at how many projects were submitted, it was around 340 individually coded projects that were submitted by these kids. Oh, we see another takeover.
Harbor Field's on the map.
Oh, it's an upset. Harbor Fields.
And Mineola just got on the map as well.
Nice.
Now it looks like all but one, actually two territories are basically in dispute right now. It looks like two are still vacant. So it looks like everything else is going, but we've seen a lot of movement now, a lot of go forward here.
So what you see there, Matt, is Mineola attacked KP Keystrokes, but KP Keystrokes would successfully defended their territory. Similarly, the Go Gamers attacked Bethpage Cyber Eagles, but Cyber Eagles successfully defended their territory. So this will go on. Now they have to go back, assess their work, figure out what they need to improve to change those results.
Now, what's going on in the judges' room right now is pretty impressive, because not only do they have to evaluate the creativity of the project, they have to validate the authenticity. And, one of the big issues that, we face it's going to be something that's persistent, is the temptation to cheat. It's there. And in a digital space, it's there, even greater. It's kind of just hanging right in front of your face. So you really have to make a decision about what type of a participant you're going to be in this whole learning structure and in this whole competitive structure, because it's easy to take the low-hanging fruit, but it doesn't really give you anything at the end of the day, So we try to steer people back toward making the right choice. And it is tough for the mentors, because we create a lot of this content, and our mentor team is dedicated to really trying to create the best skill set that we possibly can around us. I'll say that sometimes I'm talking them off a ledge almost of how they feel, but it's been it's good stuff watching how they're putting the effort into validating everything.
Mentor Doug, could you hover over the purple territory that was seized by the Locust Valley crash test dummies? When you get a chance, he might be evaluating the project. I will. Okay. So I'll tell everybody, this is you'll see this territory when Doug switches view. This is a Python project here.
Helped brought to us by one of our sponsors, LIU, Long Island University.
I was just gonna, you're right, you beat me to the punch. LIU, thank you for sponsoring. They are on the map with sponsoring territories in 3 territories. You'll see them pop up throughout. This one is a Python project that is based on a dice game that comes culturally from the theme of our map. And so there's a little bit of research for some of these projects as well to find out what it is that's required to be created. And they take that out to the internet and just kind of figure out what exactly is this, and then try to recreate a version of that game in the time frame. So the crash test dummies successfully accomplished the criteria, and they're on the map. We're starting to see Manhaxit is moving aggressively onto the map as well. Now this will happen all day. We're going to start seeing a flip-flopping effect. Somebody that starts off strong might not be strong 30 minutes from now as teams start to really galvanize their projects and their strategy together. You know, I wonder if Mentor Zen, Lord Whitebear, are you available? Do you hear me?
Yeah, actually, you know what? We'll pull Mentor Zen back into this, but because it would be interesting to learn a little bit about how this whole Code Conquest came to be. So let me see if I can summon him back into this room.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll give some of the history. You know, this is, I think, probably about version 5 of this app that has been built. And we were reminiscing with some of our student mentors and original Kidoya students from way back, which is kind of funny to say, but you know, they're all in high school now, having started with us maybe when they were 7 or 8 years old. And in our first version of this game, this was a project that Lord Whitebear came up with as a concept and sketched it out on a piece of paper. And then we took it into a live event, drew out a map on a whiteboard. In OYO class, we have an entire challenge infrastructure where you can submit solutions to challenges and get feedback from mentors. So we use that structure to support our whiteboard map. And after everybody seemed to have a very good time, we turned it into some digital prototypes. The original digital prototype was actually created at the time by an 11-year-old who had some web skills and created a map with some interactive features. Then we went into summer camp the first year, and one of our mentors turned it into a little bit more high functioning of an interactive experience. We iterated on that a few times. And finally, here we are today with this full-fledged app that our team has been working on and improving. And the map you're seeing here was designed by Lord Whitebear, who is the concept creator. And so I thought once he's in here, I'm going to have him describe a little bit of the creative context for this map and some of the historical pulls that are brought into the map as a kind of a fantasy version of something that came from history. Are you here, Lord Whitebear?
I am here.
All right, well, could you give a little bit of historical context to your design?
Yeah, for sure. So this is a fantasy map of Japan. It's a bit different, obviously, from historical Japan. We left out some of the southern halves to create, some better gameplay experience. This conquest is thematically inspired by the Battle of Shiroyama, which was the most influential battle in the Meiji period of Japan. So I'll give some historical context to why this is such an influential battle and why it was chosen as the theme of this Code Conquest. During the Meiji Reformation, Emperor Meiji saw Japan as a backwater state that he wanted to westernize to bring as powerful as the winners of the industrial age in Europe. So he conquered a lot of Japan with his army and contacted Western powers such as America and Britain to fund his expeditions. And he modernized the Japanese military. One of his goals as being emperor was to get rid of an old social caste that had been in Japan since its founding thousands of years ago, the samurai, which were an old nobility guild that were based off discipline and lived in large castles on large summits of land. He saw them as one of the reasons Japan was behind in the industrial world. And so the Battle of Shiroyama was the last battle the samurai had between Imperial Japan. The reason it was this was because industrial Japan was able to field a modern military utilizing the Gatling gun and modern rifles, while the samurai were still using swords and horses. They stood no chance, and all samurai were gone in this battle. But through pop culture and the movie The Last Samurai, if a lot of people have seen that, it is a heroic last stand event, and so it is very interesting historically and thematically to create an event that tries to replicate the last stand of the samurai. So this is a bit more thematically fantasy. We have some koi coming in with some more artistic renditions of the map, but there are a lot of projects that are themed towards Japanese culture, and our general samurai theme revolves around that historical context.
Awesome, thank you. Yes, this is a tribute map in that regard, that we're bringing a little historical context to life in our last stand of the samurai today.
Hey, Dev, I want to remind everyone too to follow us on social media. Use the hashtag CodeConquest2021. See a lot of activity out there. Our good friend Ed Kmitzer really lighting up the Twitter board here. So keep it going. We want to hear from everybody. So keep those tweets going and keep rolling on social media.
Awesome. All right.
Great
thank
job by
you.
Zen, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. You may return. I'm going to send you back to the judging room.
All right. In the meantime, we've had some successful defenses and some more successful attacks. It looks like HBT is leading the way, seizing some vacant territories. We've got Manhaxet in the lead, having taken our gamer thumb territory, which will be very visible all day. And by the way, if you hover over, is sponsored by Kid.io Game Dev, where thumbs become important.
Zen, there. Can you send yourself back to the breakout room? I think you can return back. Oh, there we go. Success. Yeah, we have a lot of people joining us today. I actually saw that we just have Dr. Nagler, Superintendent of Mineola, in the room. I'd like to give a shout out to him. A lot of this happening in the schools really comes back to that first day of Dr. Nagler walking into a Code LI event with his own son, who now has really become quite a powerhouse in his own right. He's won the Congressional App Challenge a couple times now, and really just pushing the envelope in terms of really some advanced things you can get into at a young age. But big thanks to Dr. Nagler for bringing us all to this place and helping us be seen by all of these schools. I think the island as a whole has benefited from it. Hiding behind his avatar.
I don't want to start talking because Pomara looks ridiculous with that hat on. So.
I only did this so people could tell the difference between us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Nice.
Thank you for the kind words, Pomara.
Thanks for joining us. We always like having you here.
I love it. Love it.
What was it like in the schools? Did you get a chance to walk around and see your team?
No, I'm going to head out. I was actually teaching a class this morning, so I'm a little behind in my day. But I will be out and about. Like I said last night at the board meeting, this actually lends itself to a virtual world because the kids don't want to engage with us when we're live anyway. So they got their heads down and working hard on territories.
Nice. Yeah, parents shouldn't be surprised if their kids fall asleep early tonight. This is going to definitely use some brain cells today.
Got a little expansion going on there, right by the gamer thumb. Really solidifying the coast.
Yeah, that's Manhasset, right? They're not newbies. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying before, the level of competition this year it's brutal. I mean, it's not one or two teams that's coming with big skills this time. We are seeing some of the best projects we've ever seen come through. And I know there's strategy. I've said this all the time, some teams are coming in and they're going full guns right out of the gate. And some are playing the bait and hook route where they're gonna lure you in, see what you got, get you to show their cards, and then bam, attack. We've seen so many strategies here. It's exciting that they get to do that too.
Yeah, we've seen the last few years very last minute flips of the leaderboard at the very tail end with a barrage of late challenges. So what you see now is not what we're going to see in the end. I'm confident with that one.
Yep. I mean, just from those first days of, starting in the schools with this. It even, I got to give a huge shout out to the teachers. This is a big, scary kind of a subject area to take on. And it's not like dipping your toe in the water and all of a sudden it's going to feel natural. So we've seen everybody from your really experienced AP level computer science teachers to, your library media specialists in the early elementary levels, building skills, taking on initiatives, really getting a handle of their own understanding, and coding. I mean, just really coding, creative projects. It's awesome to see. And it certainly wouldn't be possible without really this big team effort. And it goes all the way from the teachers, the admin, the students. I mean, it takes this whole ecosystem to lift us up. And I know when I go anywhere and talk to people and talk about what's happening here on Long Island, they're really blown away because we're moving in the right direction to just push ourselves really far ahead of everything else that's out there. And it's exciting for these kids because the opportunities are in this space.
Yeah, I would stress that also, is that it seems intimidating, but it's doable. So don't shy away from what appears to be intimidating, because it's with the right supports in place, every kid can code.
Yeah, I agree. And there's all levels of coders. And we always confront this kind of area of like whether or not, I don't know if I want to sit and write code all day and all that, if that's not what I want to do. But as we can see, that's not really the only place that you're going to apply code. And it's showing up in every industry. I mean, I always tell this story. My family is dairy farmers, and they have to write code. They have to use Python. They're tracking milk production, and they're tracking when cows were vaccinated, and they're tracking all sorts of things. And even the tractors, the farmers are learning how to hack their tractors that are computerized to write their own scripts to create things that are customized in their fields. So what's coming in opportunity for these kids that have these skills is new things we can't imagine. As you've always said, Dr. Naylor, we don't even know what the kindergartners today, what their world's going to look like. So what do you think are the most important things you're preparing for?
Yeah, and they learn, hey, Ed, you just joined us.
Hey.
Just about to say that. We got East Williston Ed on the board here.
Nice.
So my son and daughter, they are attending school every day, and they have to have their thumbs up app when they walk into the building. But they just started checking the dates. So my son did something to the code to automatically adjust the dates, so he didn't have to go through the whole process every day. So it's very interesting how they use their knowledge to make their lives a little easier sometimes.
Yeah. So speaking of having East Williston in the room, thanks for joining us. I see Ed Kemnetzer and Dr. Gately here. So can you tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing at your school to kind of promote this new skill set? You're muted if you're speaking, Dr. Gately or Ed Kemnetzer, you're both muted. Still muted.
Maybe Mineola just talked about East Williston.
There we go.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
There you go.
A little bit about what you guys are doing in your school to kind of promote this new skill set.
Sure, I go back to when
You're muted.
when
If you're speaking, Dr. Gately or Ed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Ed, don't listen to the live stream. Listen to us on the computer.
Maybe
There
Mineola.
was a delay.
All right, we'll bring Ed back in a couple minutes.
Yeah, just for anybody else, what Matt said there, what you're hearing is the live stream is trailing us by about 20 seconds. Sounds like maybe a little bit more than 20 seconds. So if you're actively participating in this main room in the chat, you can just mute your live stream during that time, because otherwise you're hearing everything in a little bit of a delay.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
So I go back to the day that Dr. Gately and I went to Mineola.
We'll bring him back in a couple minutes.
Yeah, just for anybody.
We're gonna get this worked out. We'll just got to deal with them, again, not listening to the live stream. It's like when you call into the fan, mute your radio. Still have one open territory on the
I think we're
West
good
Coast.
now.
here.
We good?
Yeah, you're good. Good. So tell us again, Ed. We're gonna get this worked out.
No, I think we're just having some lag issues there in general. It's crazy. I know for it, we've been in this weird world where everything's digital and there's so many different things. I'm managing my phone
We
and
good now?
chat, and yes, we can hear you now.
So I go back to the day that Dr. Gately and I went to Mineola to see Kiddo in action at the elementary level. And one of the things that we kept saying when we left that building was the kids were working on their own. It was personalized. They were owning their own learning, as the saying goes. They were hacking, creating code. And when we walked that way, we were in the car and we said, you know what, that's what we need in all areas of education. So the first step obviously was to jump on board with Kiddo, which has been instrumental in the last 3-4 years here, and making sure that every student has access to own their own learning. And that's transferred into all buildings and all classrooms. And we're really trying to force that mindset where, as Devin said this morning, failing forward is the key. And that creative struggle has to happen in all areas. So, I thank Kiddo for this event. Besides Mets opening day and the Jets season opener, I know, Matt, you're probably laughing because you're a Steeler fan, but Bevan Roethlisberger is not going to do it this year. But on another note, this day, in addition to those and the opening day of school, are my 4th favorite. So I'm glad we're here. Our kids are hacking away. We took a territory and we're coming for it today. We're coming for that cup.
Nice, bring it.
Ed, can you tell us a little bit what's going on with the kids in the room now and how they're doing, what they're experiencing? Did you hear that? For Mets fans and Jets fans, opening day is one of the best days of the year. It's just every day after that that's depressing. Unlike that, the hackathon, it'll be a great day after the hackathon. And again, we have 2 more hackathons coming up. We have April 9th. We have the high school division. Very excited. Again, that'll be a virtual event. And then April 30th, we have the upper division. That'll be a virtual event. We can't wait to be back. I can't wait to be out in front of the microphone in the live event. But this is great. Really just a great amount of work. Looks like all the territories on the West Coast now are in some kind of battle. After a lot of successful defenses, I see that the improbable monkeys look like they just had their first successful takeover. So good for them. Looks like it looks like the Cyber Eagles just got turned back. So a lot of activity right now. Everything is flying right now.
Yeah, and you can see, so we've got Manhasset our Manhasset Potatoes have moved themselves into the lead again. Like I said before, it's way too early in the competition to know who's going to end up on top. I've seen people move from bottom spot all the way up to the top. And right now, you know, if you look at the points too, it's not just the rank and order there, because really it's like you see Manhasset Potatoes holding 5 points, but right below them tied for that second spot is HBT, Pythons, and Improbable Monkeys from Belmar Merrick. So, and then we come down and we're, you know, there's really only 4 places, because it's 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, and 6 points. Manhasset just took another one there. And again, this is going to change rapid fire, and all kinds of strategies going to come out. We've seen like blitzkrieg style. We've seen hold your cards till the last round style. I mean, it's risky. There's lots of different strategies out there. So you have to think not just about what you're seeing, but what could be out there. And we've got some experienced teams, and we got some newbies. Locust Valley joining us this year for the very first time. It just came onto the platform, started working with Kiddo this year for the first time. So coming into the competition for them, big deal. You know, it's a little bit intimidating. And not only do you have to get ready your students for the battle, but here we are in this virtual time, adds another element. And just learning the map and learning the strategy year over year, teams come back with more strategy. And it's creativity is key. I can see from what I see on the main wall in the CC EDU community that even the level of questions has become so intense. So it's exciting to see. I have no idea who's going to take this competition at the end of the day. In the past, I would think I could speculate a little bit, but not this year. It's any man's game.
If you look at the leaderboard right now, you know, what separates the top from the bottom is really just about 2 points. So that's, again, way too early to call. We're starting to see a lot of successful defenses. And again, we still have an open territory on the West Coast. The Potatoes are definitely on the move. You can see them going. They're controlling a big portion of it, but like you said, too early to call. A lot of different things going on here. Again, another successful defense. So we really moving here.
Yeah, and what's happening in the judges' room too is the projects queue up in order that they're received. So because of the fact there's this neighboring component, you know, whether a team takes over that territory can determine whether or not they can get to the next one that they're strategizing for or not. So that queue is important. That's a new feature we added right before the last event, which was extremely helpful. So the teams know that their projects are getting judged in order of receipt. So when you see this one, you know, you're looking at that top territory there that right now is being held by HBT, there's 3 attacks coming in on that could drastically change gameplay. So it's
we see now the whole coast. The whole coast now is taken.
The whole coast is taken. It's looking a little orange at the moment, I gotta say. Looking a little orange.
After a bunch of successful defenses, now we're starting to see some wins here on the board.
Yeah, we're starting to see some territories turning color. You know, it's interesting because on the backside, these coaches have their own strategies for planning and readying their teams. And it's exciting to see what they're doing, what they're creating in their own classroom communities, because, you know, OYO gives you all of the tools to create everything that we create in terms of courses and challenges and badges and learning paths. And watching these coaches innovate exciting challenges, creating learning paths that are specific to these hackathon skills, it takes their team to the next level. And we can see it, you know, in the creativity in the classroom. I mean, these coaches really have gone above and beyond. And it's not just what's happening in the everyday classroom, it's what's happening all the time. You know, I'm on this Twitter feed with some of the teachers who have trained with me over the summers, and the personalization, the commitment and the dedication they give to these teams really is commendable. I'm blown away by it all the time, because I know that they take from their own personal lives and their own personal time to give to these kids, and it's impressive. I'm always humbled by it.
Laura, how important is it to have a strong team captain? Like, obviously we mentioned the coaches, and coaching is key. Again, taking a shot at Ed on that one with the Jets, but how important is the team captain?
Gosh, that's a great question. When we did the first competition we ever had, we didn't have a team captain in the role, and this was when we were drawing the maps up on the board, and it quickly became apparent that you needed somebody who was going to guide the strategy and really direct the students, because there's 8 team members and you got to make a decision. You got to put your strongest players on the right territory, and then you have to plan for failure. You got to plan that what if that doesn't work. And the team captain is there to really help make those decisions, help guide their team to that point of how do we utilize our own talents the best. And you got to recognize when someone's better than you at something. Sometimes the team captain has to slide aside to the side and say, you know what, you're just better at this. I think you should do it. So it's a crucial role. It's important, and I think it's good when the right person is in that spot.
Again, we're seeing a lot of orange on the West Coast, a lot of orange. As Manhattan continues to mount up the points here, but just only a couple points separating everybody. So very, very exciting, very exciting. How is when you're looking at this and you're looking at the board, obviously it's impossible to capture the same energy as being in person, but do you feel like you're pulling it off today with the virtual event? I have to tell you, it definitely looks like you are, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we're seeing a little lag on the backside, which is to be expected. We've got a lot of pull coming in on the server right now because these projects are big. They're meaty. Lots of data traveling with them. Lots of complexity in the project. We keep updating. If you know anything about our team and working with us, we take the input from the teachers very seriously, and the kids really seriously. So a lot of the updates that we have made right before this are really coming through right now, showing off well. Everything's holding tight on our side. I'm super proud of my team. I gotta say, we're such a small team, and you can see it even in the map. Like Jinx drew the fish, and Zen drew the map, and I drew the Oyo bot, and so we do everything. We're jacks of all trade, but the coordination, the commitment is off the charts. I'm really super proud of my team. We're learning new things every day too, and I don't, aside from the things that we're picking up from the kids, I always say this when I'm, comparing us, and people ask me all the time, like, what makes you different from this company or the other? And, I think what at the heart of it is, before we built any piece of technology, we just stood in front of the classroom and taught kids too. So we lived that, and we built solutions for our own classrooms as we were encountering those problems. And it just so happened that we were approaching a subject area that put us a little bit in front and could then share those things that we've learned with the teachers, with the schools, and then share the tools. So we started to name all of our updates after teachers and admin, because we get so many fantastic ideas. We're lucky to be around such bright brains here on this island that we can take and learn from them. And together at this point, Oyo class is becoming this, really like this, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a big collaboration of everybody's brains. Can't even tell you how many times I've sat in Mineola boardroom with Dr. Nagler and Matt Gavin, and just plowing through ideas and what would work and what wouldn't work, and bringing us challenges that we had to overcome, and us bringing them challenges that they had to overcome. And then as we started to get more districts, getting a chance to hear from people, getting the input from people saying, what if we could do this? And it's teachers. it's teachers, it's admin. I mean, over the summer, or when things went it virtual back in March of last year, right after the last hackathon of this, by the way, we had this big hackathon and then everything went, virtual. But teachers were reaching out to me with some of the struggles. Like Dr. Bieberman from East Williston had reached out to me and was saying that, she's having a hard time because she can't see exactly what the work is and progressing through some of the apps that we had. And she really woke us up to, wow, if we did that, how meaningful would that be for the teachers? And that helps us quickly switch our attention to building something we weren't intending to, but solving a problem that's on the street right there. And it's happening more and more. And having those teachers feel comfortable to reach out to us with ideas, it's crucial. It just makes OU class better and better and better every day.
Funny is we knew we would hear from them at some point, and anyone who's in the coding world knows, the HBT Pythons now kind of help break that Manhasset stronghold on the West Coast. They finally started to make their move. They just took the top of the leaderboard. And look at the sleeper on ESM Hackers. The ESM Hackers sneaking in over there, getting up to the top. So we've got a real dogfight here on that West Coast. So right now, currently on our leaderboard, if you can't see it at home, we got the HBT Pythons, we got the Manhasset Potatoes, we got the ESM Hackers, we got the OYO Code Southwoods team, and of course, keep an eye on Belmore Merrick. They've done such a tremendous job in embracing the platform, embracing the code. The fact that they fielded this many teams, I think, really speaks to the leadership there. John DiTomaso, great leader, Joe Anako, great tech person, and they have a great team captain. Really exciting stuff going on there. So they're on the move as well.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Mike Harrington over there too. Let's not forget about him, and Rob Soul. Sure. He's been. They've all been great They've all been great advocates. Last year, if you came to the high school event, it was actually hosted at Belmore Merrick, and they knocked that out of the park. That was a big event, a lot of complexity. Just fantastic all the way around. And the coach over there at Merrick Ave, Papa Stiggs, the kids call him. We saw something so unique come out of their first launch of this that we quickly shared it with everybody else as fast as possible, because what they did was, and maybe it was what he did, was he created this immediate ownership of the experience with the kids in the room. And they just took off, like they owned the wall for the first time. We have a public wall in each community, and it was the first time we really saw a community of students come in and just own that wall and start mentoring each other and start offering that help of, hey, I figured it out, I can lift you up. And that was something that we really did not expect. Dev and I both spent some time going in and dropping in to see what was the magic that Papa Stiggs was creating, and how could we quickly share that out. I know that as we come through the rest of this year, and definitely over the summer and into next year, we're going to create some more user group experiences where these teachers, heavy OYO class users, as well as the coaches of hackathons, can have a continual experience of connecting and sharing resources. Because there's so much talent here, number one, but number two, I think them being able to come together, work together, it makes it better for them, makes it better for everybody else.
I just saw enter the room Mr. Cardillo from Syosset, and
Dr. Curry, also from Syosset.
Quick point of fact, was my high school principal. So good to have him on board here.
Nice.
Oh, so, look at Matt Gavin on the board too. I see Matt Gavin jumped in.
Yep, Matt Gavin. Matt Gavin, I gotta say, it's funny. When we have somebody coming on from Mineola soon too, the board president, but I say, if the board president of Mineola didn't push Dr. Nagler to push Matt Gavin, to push me, to push Dev, we might not be here right now. So big, it takes a lot. The tech teams supporting this on the backside, there's a lot of pressure on them right now, making sure they've got everything whitelisted, that their networks are up and running. We honestly, this event couldn't have happened the first time if we didn't have the graciousness of the hosting district of Mineola and Gavin leading his team impeccably. So it was fantastic for that. Thanks, Matt.
No, my pleasure. This is fun.
Definitely. Now, we also had Syosset host us for the middle school division, which was the big competition right before everything shut down. As Syosset knows, they are the ones to watch at the moment because they are the two-time reigning champions in the middle school division, which has been transformed to junior division. So Dr. Curry, what's it feel like to be in the bullseye?
Oh, this is so exciting. We have screens up everywhere through central office and all of the schools. And you can hear the roaring from different parts as the different Syosset teams, keep moving up the leaderboard. But they know that it's not an easy victory. So they are diving deep and doing the best they can. And we're so proud of being a part of Kiddo-Yo, proud of what our kids are accomplishing, and just really thankful for being a part of it all.
Thank you. We're grateful to have you guys. I always tell the story of coming into Syosset, and it's a big district, big reputation, and the way that Syosset launched their program was really unique. It was unique to what we had seen and in fact, Joanne Mannion, who was there before you, Dr. Curry, she and I joke because I kept pinging her like, is everything okay? I haven't seen anything. Is everything okay? But when it was all the backside planning and the way that you guys created these team groups to support each other, lots of poured in training before the students hit the platform. And when they did, we felt it. It was like a roar onto the platform, like, okay, they're here.
And I think that a lot of credit really has to go to our library media specialists, to our library media clerks, to our classroom teachers, whether they were the specific content area or even the other content area teachers, everyone is supporting. We were just meeting with some world language teachers. They were there, promoting it. So it really is a whole school-wide effort towards appreciating it and really seeing the value of how the skills and the learning that takes place through this really is cross-curricular, and how much the kids get out of it. And but again, a lot of credit to the teachers that just keep the energy going for the kids.
Absolutely. I mean, I think if anybody else around the world looked in and saw what Long Island's library media specialists are doing these days, they would be blown away. Even in Mineola, we started in that place too, and they're our strongest coders right now. They really just embraced it, and I was impressed. I was a little nervous when I knew that I started to see all the registrations for teacher trainings coming up, and it was heavily with library media specialists. And I'm thinking, what are we going to do with library media specialists? I don't even know what we should do. But no, sure enough, I'm really impressed. And you're right, like, big credit to them, big credit.
Yeah, and our staff developers, we're very excited too because of how wonderful this has worked in the middle school. Our elementary school students are now super excited to, be very much involved in the competitions, and our computer specialists with that are really doing a lot of behind the scenes work to make this happen for them.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And we're excited for the little guys to hit the competition too. Took it down to fourth graders this year. I need to see these little guys because, it's going to blow everybody's minds away to see some of the project work that they could do. But I see them reaching. We could see as the projects come in, we get this unique view. We audit a lot of the projects so that we can see how mentors are responding and such. And sometimes I see projects that'll come in from a student who's in first grade, and they're taking on material that ninth graders are taking on and 10th graders are taking on. And they might not have it yet, but the fact that they're reaching for it says a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
So what we see coming in the next couple of years is it's exponential growth for what these kids are capable of. So exciting. And speaking of which, looks like Syosset and Manhasset are still neck and neck right at the top. It is, and that's got to be interesting for you, Dr. Curry, because I believe you hung your head up from Manhasset before and now you're here. So that's got to be tough. You got your feet in both worlds.
Cheering all the kids all around, doing a great job. So proud. So, yep. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a win-win.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. All right. I think.
See,
oh,
I see
sorry. Go ahead.
Mineola. Yeah, go ahead. I think I see Mineola is on the board now. They grabbed the territory right there.
Nice.
On the West Coast. So it looks like the Manhasset looks like they have the checkerboard going right now. Every other territory for the most part. So it's really exciting. A lot of movement here.
Yeah, in fact, it looks like we're sitting on a tie for first at the moment, and a really big tie for third. We've got Syosset, Grand Ave, the Grand EXE, Crash Test Dummies with Locust Valley, Brand Nubians on the map there, and we've got Mineola all holding that third place round. So it's anyone's game. It's anyone's game. We were going to take a moment here to maybe preview some of these. We mentioned at the beginning that 72 hours prior to the competition starting this morning, teams were given a capital defense project definition. And the definition really was that they could use any tool, any language, meaning any editor that we have here, any programming language, to represent their version of the last stand of the Last Samurai. It could be any kind of project whatsoever. So creativity was really unleashed here. I know we're going to show off a couple of those projects. Deb, you with us, or are you out in the breakout rooms?
Kind of back and forth. But I'm here right now. What can I do?
Want to highlight a couple projects for us?
Yeah, let me see. Actually, I think Doug is here with us too. Might be easier if we just keep him on the current screen.
Oh yeah, good ideas. Okay.
Just another point of fact too is my mentor for my OYO community is mentor Doug. So always great to be with mentor Doug as he gets ready to show us the map.
Yeah, we mentor Doug has been really, he's our resident engineer, and he has really been instrumental in connecting the hardware area to coding. I mean, and it's funny when we have all these robotics teams all over the place and we have these technology classes, and they're oftentimes just missing that one component to be able to add the programming side of it in. And Doug has really brought a lot to the table in terms of how do we do that? How do we move kids into this space? And as you know, we like to give kids the authentic experience of being able to create something from nothing. So teaching them real professional tools comes with a lot of whining sometimes in the beginning, but ultimately we get them past that, and we move into really doing some great things. And Doug helped us create the Kidoyo prototype kit, which is an Arduino based kit with a lot of material supported here. We're hoping we get enough schools up to the point someday that this competition will be run for those hardware kids as well, because there's a lot of cool projects that can be made using those Arduino kits. And we've certainly seen a lot coming out of Kings Park. Coach Cruz over there has really just combined the shop. He's modernized the shop experience for kids, going to shop class. Well, now we can use those tools to build things, to support things that blink and move and throw things. And he's done just this fantastic job of creating his own uniqueness. I mean, really in that way too. I mean, it's hard to overlook how much creativity is coming out of the teachers there. Hauppauge's constantly innovating and showing us new ways that you can inspire the kids and just pushing their own skills forward so much. It's been really, really impressive to see. I know we're going to see some really good things out of them as they keep coming forward with projects, and their high school team should be one to watch as well. So we're excited. Last year, brand new to us was West Hempstead. West Hempstead returning for their second competition. They were young and fresh last year. They're fighting hard. We've seen some good project work, they're doing a ton of great artwork over there, really applying it across different areas. So it's exciting to see them in the competition. I know everybody's probably feeling the stress of it, but we're doing it. You know, everybody's doing great. We're seeing great projects come in. I'm, like I said, really impressed, and
they're a great district as well. Hashtag RamFam, the Houdinis. I see them really improving and really going forward here. So I'm excited to see them. Oh, we got another change. Tell you, again, it's only 4 points separating the top of the leaderboard and the bottom of the leaderboard. So again, just got to stay on it here. It's going to keep swapping back and forth.
Doug, you ready? Okay, well, let's let me, if I can direct you around a bit, since we've got a lot to cover and time is ticking away. We're going to go right to announcing winners of these capital defense projects. So everybody who's out there with your live stream teams, if you want to pay attention for a moment, this was extremely challenging. I have to say, I'd like to show off all the projects, and maybe at some point we can figure out how to show off more of these. But what we thought of when we came out with this was we were going to just judge the absolute best project that embodied the definition the best and really inspired us the most. We ended up with more teams than we thought we would have, that we were internally arguing about. But here's where we go. So number one, the best capital defense projects. We have a tie. This is a point-based system. No matter which way we went around it, we came out with the tie. So we're going to show them off. We're going to start with Manhasset Potatoes. Woo! Manhasset Potatoes is one of our tied winners for the best capital defense project. This was submitted by JLaxer, and it looks like a combination between all students. So they start off, they've built us a bit of a website tour. I call it a little bit of a code cache, where they take us from one project to the next. Projects give us things we have to solve, codes we have to put in. Can you click that begin button there, Doug?
I don't think this is part of it.
Oh, I guess we're not going to review too much of it. They can see it, but they took first place along with Grand Avenue, Grand GEXE, tied for first place. Okay, so you guys will be receiving prizes. Be on the lookout for a box with prizes. Congratulations, you guys really did a phenomenal job. This project that came in from Grand EXE was a Python-based project reminiscent of Legend of Zelda, where you're running through rooms, unlocking things, finding keys to unlock.
Go ahead and show it, Doug, if you don't mind. Just open up the main view. So after he shows, this is a Python project that was created by Grand EXE. And so obviously every team with a capital defense project had 72 hours to build their projects. And you can even show a little bit of their code, just scanning quickly, see how many lines are embedded in there. It looks like we got about 384 lines of code involved in making this project. And that's good. We won't show too much since it is part of the game still. But these two teams we could not split it up any differently. They took different methods to their projects, but equally good in the views of the judges. So congratulations to both Manhasset and Grand Ave for your winning of the Capital Defense Project competition. Now I
Great
will just show that, if you can leave that screen up real quick, Doug, so I can show the criteria of our capital defense projects. It's a very loosely defined criteria that we use for our capital defense projects that was all about building a project as the last stand of the samurai that would defend your capital defense. If we get to the final 30 minutes and you are not holding any territories, you'll be vulnerable to attacks from other teams. And this project was representing the last stand of the samurai. And if you scroll down on that page, Doug, to the bottom, you'll see our judging criteria of how we were going to approach this. Is the most creative and well-executed project representing the last stand of the samurai wins. Language complexity, artistic design, and overall interactive experience will be used by judges in determining battle results. So while these teams have won the competition coming in, one of the strategic points of order here is that they may have some backup projects that they're waiting to see. When it gets that final 30 minutes, they're able to switch out this capital defense project and host another if they feel like they have another that is even higher order, and then they can use something else to attack other territories. Thanks, Doug. We're done looking at that, though.
Okay, so we're done looking at that. However, because this was, as I said before, the hardest choices we've made, because there were some projects that came in that inspired us to create an entire new category of prizes. And this new category is still for the Capital Defense Project, but we're calling it a Creative Spirit Project Award. And Deb, you want to talk a little bit about what that means?
Yeah, so the idea here is that I refer to this as functional literacy. Everything we're doing here, if you come from my generation, everything was in a book, right? I remember math class, skill and drill on paper, always asking, why am I learning this? One of the benefits of functional literacy is that we get to make everything move. History is electric, math is electric. Everything can be brought into a computer science context, because computer science is really an empowering science. It's meant to be applied to every other field of endeavor. And so what we realized here is that because of the diversity of projects that we had coming in, we had this other category of kind of looking at some of these projects through the lens of creative computing. And these are teams that really embodied the spirit of this capital defense project and went beyond just making a project. They kind of bought into the theme and the map and the whole historical context and brought out a little bit of the ethos of the samurai into their project in a unique way. So this Spirit Award is for the teams that best represented the theme and purpose of the map in their design of their capital defense project. And we had another tie for this project that both teams, without any coordination, took a similar approach to building their projects with completely different results, but very team oriented. And so for these two winners, we are going to award the Creative Spirit Award to the Mineola Masterminds and the Hapag Golden Eagles.
Woo! Good job, guys. I mean, the projects were truly inspirational, and the storyline, you felt like you were brought into the battle moment itself and really prepared for the spirit. It's so exciting, honestly. The artwork, the representation.
And I'd like Doug to show it. Doug, could you click on Mineola first real quick? We're going to show just the first page. We don't need to click through it, but I'd like to just give a sense of their project. Their capital defense. Capital defense project. They are the blue, yep, right there. So again, here we are. They had 72 hours to build this project. It looked to me like their team captain might have led on the design of the interface that was used to navigate through. And then what this was was they took and built a whole flow of kind of looking into the various character traits of a samurai, and each team member on their team was able to build a project specifically. If you click on that, tap here real quick, we'll go in one layer, Doug. And you'll see that behind each of these pathway links inside that UX on the start, it brings you into, in this case, a samurai origin story, but created by one of the team members, and introduces you to kind of the backdrop of how they're looking into the ethos of the samurai. And we're going to share this in more full detail afterwards, but since it's still part of the game, I don't want to give too much away. But I will show you Hopog's main loading screen as well. So Doug, as you exit this screen, let's go and look at this. But this is absolutely excellent work by Mineola. Great job on the design of your project. I loved reviewing this. When we look at Hopog's, you'll see a little bit of a similarity in terms of the approach they took. Totally different design result.
And
So
Deb,
here's-
wouldn't you say that the web skills we're seeing popping up are like definite jump from what we've been seeing?
Yeah, and you'll see here, I mean, in both cases, we have integration of websites where each student has their own domain name and their own hosting account and their own text editor. They're able to create their own websites, but they're also creating pages for this competition. And that's then integrating Python and Scratch projects into various components of this. Here you have Hopog using a chapter by chapter, almost like a book format, where they're going into the various features of courage, compassion, integrity, and again, spelling it right out and taking you into projects built by each of their team members to show off what that was all about and how they exemplified those features of the ethos of the samurai. And so again, putting on a show of kind of multiple tech skills and telling a story of what it means to them. So this is the Creative Spirit Award. And congratulations to both those teams.
Yeah, excellent job. Excellent job. You know, team is an interesting thing to bring up at this moment. We've said it a number of times. Oftentimes we've got a lot of first-time team members here. Working on a team is crucial. I remember one of our early mentors interviewing at Google, and one of the things that he was most surprised by was immediately he was put on a team. And the team, then he had to find the team that was the best fit for him. And you really started to see the crucial importance of these kids working on teams and how they really learn how to collaborate, pull the best out of each other, and go back to that team captain kind of role again in helping strategize that. So these two projects that we just showed off from Mineola and Hopog really were fantastic in that they did include so much of the team. Actually, Manhasset's was very similar in that there was a lot of the team involved with that as well. And the web component, great job, guys, because that's a lot of just self-push on the kids' parts to get to that level. So congratulations again to our 4 teams for the Capital Defense Project winners. We are going to now move on to the next prize. And this next prize, we wanted to recognize again some of the artwork. And we normally come into our live competitions with these nice big printed banners that represent the team and the kids can come in with. We were missing out on that this year. And we thought, well, let's use the team banners this year as digital components. So we're gonna have Doug show off here. If you can click on the team banners quick. Again, these were great team banners coming in. We took a vote, went through them all. So we'll just start off, if you could just scroll down quick. We start off with Kings Park, Eastport South Manor, Manhasset, Harbor Fields, got Mineola Masterminds. This is Locust Valley, Crash Test Dummies. We got Hopog Golden Eagles, Ramites, which are coming out of Belmore, Merrick, Merrick Ave. We have Bethpage, Cyber Eagles, East Williston, Wildcat Hackers. This is West Hempstead Middle School coming up, the Hacking Houdinis. HBT Pythons coming out of Syosset. This is also coming out of Syosset from their Southwoods Middle School, Scio Code. Got our Improbable Monkeys coming out of Merrick Ave. And we've got our 2 Grand Ave banners here. Grand Gamers, and Grand.exe. They're displayed just in the order that they were received. So after much debate and much voting, we do have a winner, and the banner winner is Manhasset Potatoes. Congratulations, guys. Great banner, awesome artwork, coloration, made it feel like it was on fire, and just love the incorporation of the binary into it. Really good, awesome banner. Good job, guys. Way to take that home. All right, and then next up, our next prize that we have, if we want to come out of there, Mentor Doug, we also wanted to take into consideration the creativity that comes into these team logos over here on the side. You can also see these when you are in there as a coach or a team member by clicking on our new feature where you can see the teams and see all their logos for each team. They were allowed to make these as a static image, or they could make it a GIF. So you can kind of see there where you see Manhasset on the up there moving versus HP Thompson's is static. Lots of great stuff coming in. It was tough for us to decide because we saw a lot of original artwork. We saw a lot of complexity in the designs. And again, team big vote, point-based. And we have a winner. For this one, we are awarding the most creative team logo to Kings Park Keystrokes. Good job, Kings Park. Woo! Now you can't see right there as well, but what's happening is they have programmed, and this is a pixel art animation. They have their knight riding up from the back darkness into the front. That was excellent. And congratulations, you guys. So those are all of our winners for our side competitions. And as you know, we will be watching as the competition evolves for the main winner. All right. So joining us now, I believe we have this here. Doug, if we can return back to the map there. Good job, Kings Park. Awesome logo. And let's move along here. Excellent, yes. Okay. So, you know, we wanted to do one highlight interview during this event. And to me, I was thinking about who would make the most sense for this interview. And I wanted to go right back to the source of it all. And I'll say this also for us women in tech who get sometimes not seen as women in tech. There are a lot of roles to play in technology. And while you might not be sitting in the coding chair, the decisions you make to support these kids, to bring them in, to create an environment of just open exploration and a willingness to fail forward, it couldn't be exemplified more than by Mineola School Board President Christine Napolitano. Thanks for joining us today, Christine. We're really excited to have you here.
Oh, and thank you so much for inviting me here today. I'm so appreciative.
So before we get me started on this, I was wondering, just tell us, how long have you been serving the Mineola School Board or Mineola School District?
This is my 12th year.
Wow.
So it's been quite a journey that we started way back when, and it happened really very quickly. And now we're talking about 12 years. I started the same year that Dr. Naylor started as superintendent.
Wow. Well, you guys are a match made in heaven. I think we've all sit back and watch with awe at what you guys are able to do together, and really just the love you all have for each other and your other board members too. And you certainly don't want to overlook the importance of the team because you guys always bring this team spirit. So, you know, Dr. Naylor often gives you credit for pushing the envelope and really pushing him to explore what it meant to bring coding into the schools. What was your motivation for doing that?
So I like to think of myself as a voracious reader. I like to read and watch and explore. I'm always trying to learn something new. And years back, one of a client who really became a very good friend of mine had sent me an article about coding. And I had absolutely no idea what it meant. I really just nothing. I had really no frame of reference for it. I knew it involved computers, but I didn't know anything else about it. But it intrigued me enough that I said, this looks like something important. And I had forwarded on to Dr. Naylor. He took a look at it. He also too was mystified by all of this. And that sort of started the journey. along Mineola's way to discovering coding and getting it into our schools. And obviously the relationship then he made with you and Dev and Kid Oyo, and it just slowly just, it was like a slow freight train, but it really was a freight train. It just kept going. And but the idea of the hackathon, strangely enough, really, I'm getting texts here as I'm talking to you. But the idea of the hackathon, strangely enough, came sort of simultaneously from two sources. One of my kids became a data scientist. And in one of those conversations that I was having with her, she had mentioned something about a hackathon, which was the first time I had ever even heard the word. And just about a day or two later, my husband, who is a captain in the fire department of the city of New York, talked about that he had to go into the city, to the Javits Center, to be a judge for a hackathon. And I thought, how strange is this, that this is now the second time I'm hearing this. The fire department, what does a hackathon have to do with the fire department? But it had to do with, they were getting people together to start working on how to better communicate between agencies during a catastrophe. So I was just blown away that something like the fire department now is talking about coding and a hackathon. So without really knowing much more than that, as usual, as Dr. Nagel will tell you, that we have these, these free flowing conversations about things, that came up in a story that I was telling him. And I said, we're doing such a great job now with the coding. Wouldn't it be great if we could get our students to do a hackathon? Now, I'd like to tell you that initially he was over the moon about the idea. He kind of looked at me a little bit, but as usual, he always entertains my ideas as I do his, and he did a lot of mulling over. And of course, it took a little. He was a little busy at the time, doing a lot of other things for the district, but it was an idea that never left me. It was just something that I thought about, and I thought, how do we get this energy? Because I could feel the energy around the coding and the kids really getting more involved, and the teachers. And I said, we have to be able to do this. And obviously you were the people to do it. So took a little time, but boy, did I ever think that it would ever get to this point? No. But that's all your hard work. It's, mine was just a simple idea, which I'm sure in time would have come anyway. But I just happened to be very curious at the time, inquisitive. And that's just something that I feel board members have to always be. And I'm blessed to work with the best board of education on the planet. I'll say it. But you all have to be on the same team, and you have to share a vision. And that's what we do. And we do that every day. So I was just fortunate enough that it was one of my better ideas. I've had a couple of duds too along the way, but yeah, it's just something we're just all so uniquely proud of, and watching it today, and it's just so exciting. I'm just so proud of all of it. And I can't thank all of you so much, because you and Deb and everybody else, you are the ones who put all the hard work in. And that's what it is. It's a tremendous amount of work and dedication, but it is so worth it. And I know our kids are coming out of here just so much better prepared for the world that they're going to be entering.
Thank
And
you.
I can just keep going on, and I'll stop here.
Well, I will say too, I think just the spirit that you guys have instilled even in us from Mineola is not being afraid to be on the bleeding edge. And so when we jumped in and said yes to making this big hackathon moment come to life in the schools, it was a little nerve-wracking, but at the end of the day, I know you share that same spirit of you're not going to get anywhere if you don't try. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. I think you have to be fearless is really at the end of the day. And that's not an easy thing always for board members to be. because there's
Yeah.
so many other things that, constraints that are put upon us. But you have to be fearless, and you also have to have the right leadership in place. And without that, it can't happen.
Do you have any advice that you would offer to other school boards who are looking to or trying to meet the demand of bringing more computer science, coding, and engineering into the schools?
I think probably for many school districts, I would say particularly more rural ones, because I've encountered it when I've been at conventions and so forth and so on. I think you have to get out of your comfort zone, and you have to actually go and visit schools that are doing this and see what it really looks like, sounds like. Talk to the students, especially the students. And we always say our kids are the best ambassadors. But I think sometimes it's very hard, especially board members tend to be, I think, a little bit on the older side across the board. And sometimes tech can be a little bit overwhelming and scary because they look at it personally. And believe you me, I am not the biggest or greatest tech person around. But you have to have a willingness to learn. And I think that board members have to sort of take a very big picture approach. I often, like I said, I read so much, I watch so much, I pay attention to what's going on in the world. And I think about what does this mean for our kids? What does that mean for them? Because I can't just think about education for today. I have to always have an eye on what comes next, because they're in school for 18, 19 years. We start in pre-K, and what starts in pre-K and what you end up with in senior year of high school could be a very different place. And we've seen just over the past couple of years how much the world can change like this. So if you're not agile, if you're not adaptable, if you're not open-minded, if you're not willing to take those risks and take the hits, because let's face it, there very often times when people don't understand things, they fight you on it. So, there's always been, I think when tech first started in schools, there's always been that little bit of a pushback, because what you don't understand, you're going to push against. But I think as the world has become smaller through tech and the good, the bad, we see that these skills are necessary. And why would I not give students a skill like coding in 2021? Why would I not do that? To me, that would be a miscarriage of my duties not to give students that opportunity, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to provide for a well-rounded student, and that includes tech. So on top of arts and sports and certainly curriculum and all the wonderful things we do. But this is a tool that they're going to, I'm sure even once they graduate, it will be forever evolving, as you yourself know. So that would be my advice, is just to be fearless. But again, it also, you have to have the right leadership in place. That is something I have learned. That's probably the biggest takeaway. And if you don't have the right leadership in place, then your job as a board member is to get to work on that and figure out how to get the right leadership in place. And also to have other board members who support it and understand it and have the same amount of enthusiasm about it. It's so critical to making this kind of change towards inviting computer science into your schools. But I still think there's a lot of fear. Strangely enough, even after all of this, there's still that fear of too much screen time. I think people boil it down to something so incredibly simplistic, and that's not what this is. So yeah, be fearless and have the right leadership in place. It's probably the best things that I could tell you.
Christine, how proud of you, by the way, it's Matt Pomara. How proud of you, how proud are you of the administration on how they adapted to the pandemic and to some of the challenges now that are facing a lot of the school districts?
Listen, obviously I'm very, I'm prejudiced here, right? I've worked alongside most of these administrators for the past 12 years, and we certainly brought a lot more on. But the work that they have done, particularly over this last year, is just extraordinary. It's really extraordinary. I mean, the pandemic hit, schools closed, and we were able to pretty much pick up and continue. I'm not saying it was perfect. It wasn't always, pretty, but all our children had iPads already. We had so many things in place that we were able to meet this challenge and not only just meet it, but embrace it and the PD that went on, the continual always looking forward, saying, okay, how are we going to do this if we're not opening in September? There was never a moment. They worked so hard even last summer when so many of the school districts were grappling with the fact that they didn't have the bandwidth. Their kids didn't have the iPads. We had so many of those things already in place. So for us, it was a much, much, much easier transition. And of course, it's not something we thought we would be doing, as long as we have. But wow, I mean, if there was any question, I mean, back in the day when we first brought iPads in, I remember, certain parents being very hesitant and concerned that this was not a good thing for our school district. But I think back every day and I thank God for that, because we look at how well prepared we were in comparison to so many other places. So we could continue so much of what we were doing. And that was just it. We weren't just, these administrators and teachers, they weren't just grappling with the pandemic and trying to get themselves set up and kids set up. They were still able to excel and keep moving. That's what Dr. Nagler was always saying, Mr. Gavin too, that it's not just about just getting through the pandemic. It was still about, no, we still are going to continue to grow and get kids, moving and the curriculum. And so I can't say enough. This administration has just been outstanding, just outstanding. And the board and I have just been so appreciative and so blown away by it. And I've heard often from parents how blessed they really felt that our district was, because we were so much better prepared for the pandemic. But not just for the pandemic, we're just in such a great place. We're just in such a great place.
I'm going to ask a controversial question, and it's building on something you just said. Is it true that you're in discussions with other BOE presidents to trade Matt Gavin for 4 teachers? Is that true? Can you address that rumor?
I'm going to take the 5th.
Oh,
I'm definitely going to take the 5th on this one.
I get it. You don't want to affect negotiations. I get it.
I don't want to do that, but
I have another.
Matt Gavin has really done an outstanding job.
That's what I'm saying. You're thinking of trying to trade him while his value is
Price
at
is
its
high.
highest.
Yeah, trade me while the price is high. Definitely.
He's priceless. I don't think we can trade him.
It's
How
okay.
about,
It's okay. You got to get what you can get for the district, Chris. I understand. It's just business.
There you go.
Also, and again, this is a rumor, and I try not to deal in rumor and innuendo, but I do want to know: is it true that Patrick Talty, BOE trustee, eats all the snacks during executive session?
Yeah.
Can you comment on that?
I'm afraid to tell you, but yes, we've taken to locking them in a secret compartment in the boardroom, because by the time he gets through it, there's nothing left for any of us.
Yeah, it's all that atom smashing he does during the day. It probably makes him, drives a hunger. In seriousness, how important or how great would it be if Mineola could take the cup today? What would that mean to you in the district?
Well, certainly it would be a wonderful moment for Mineola to take the cup. But, I think as we always say in Mineola, it's really about the journey, right? We have a big growth mindset theme, if you would want to say, for lack of a better word, that goes on here. And we're constantly stressing to our children about failing forward. And so honestly, if they take the cup, awesome, we'll celebrate, we'll jump up and down. And if they don't, we're still going to celebrate, because it just means that they're going to continue to work and get better and improve. And so no matter what it is, it's all good.
Awesome. Great spirit of team and a great spirit of sportsmanship.
Absolutely.
As of right now, we're looking at the board. The HBT Pythons are on the leaderboard, trying to paint it black over here. And we have Manhaxet right behind them. And then Southwoods is making their move up on the board. They're currently in third place. But again, a lot of real estate left to grab, a lot to do. I want to thank Christine Napolitano for joining us today. Truly visionary leadership, great spot. Hashtag Mustang Pride.
Absolutely. And thank you again so much for having me here. It's quite an honor, especially since, listen, coming up with an idea is easy, but putting the hard work in and getting all this done takes a tremendous amount of work. And that's the hard part. So thank you again for having me. And I'll continue to watch, and I'll be rooting along with everybody else.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Christine. Really appreciate
you.
having you.
Take care.
Thanks. Wow, a lot has happened since we've been in that interview. I've seen the board move quite a bit there. There's a lot of attacks. The map's looking a little black down in the lower territory. They're being held by the HBT Thompson. Wow, really doubled that one up. The HBT Pythons. But like we said, there's a lot of attacks against those territories. Looks like right now what we're seeing is less attacks on the map. So what that means is that teams are doing two things. One is they're checking out what is currently being held, what projects are currently holding those territories, determining what they can do to take those over, and building. I mean, there's so much coding going on right now. I'm sure that tension is high.
Yeah, maybe we could have Doug click on the gamer thumb territory, since that's been a heavily attacked territory, and take a look at the project that's currently holding that territory. No, not that one. The one that looks like the shape of a thumb up on the West Coast. Keep going north. You see that green one? The SIO South.
Oh, Manhasset just took over.
All right, so this is a sprite editor animation project. Let's just take a quick look at the project that's holding it. Oh. Nice. So what you're looking at here is sprite art, pixel art, created pixel by pixel during the event.
That is going to be hard to beat.
Those look like paper lanterns floating on the water.
Those are koi fish too, right? The purple things?
Yeah, that is definitely going to be a tricky thing to beat.
Now you can really see, we see a lot of our younger students that start off in this sprite editor that we have in the platform, and it really allows them to quickly prototype these more advanced moving pieces of graphic art. And I think people would be really impressed to think that this artwork came out of a middle school aged student produced this. Look at
and the thing about the sprite editor is that while it can create standalone art like this, when we first put this app into the collection of apps, we've got 25 of them. The idea here was that students were creating their own sprites to use in their projects, whether it was a Python project or a Scratch project or a web project. And so we wanted to kind of embellish the tools they were working with before they get to maybe a more professional design software like Creative Suite, Photoshop, some of the tools that we might use professionally, give them an opportunity to stay in an environment where they're very familiar. And so this app has allowed them to, they can export their creations and bring it into their website and their Python projects. And they can also create art like this. All right, Doug, you can close that one. There are a lot of attacks on the territory right now. The server's been under heavy load. The dev team's keeping it running. Some of the schools have been running into some technical glitches, but overcoming them. And so I appreciate their persistence to keep working with that. HBT Python's still in the lead, but everything's very tight. This game is far from over. We are, I guess, about an hour. We're about halfway through the event right now, so still a long way to go.
Yeah, so we were thinking maybe we could pull a couple of coaches back into the room here with us. I know a couple of coaches are probably stressed out by that thought, but thinking maybe we could call a couple back in and see. I was thinking about maybe taking a look at what's going on over in Mineola, or no, we just did Mineola. Let's see if we could maybe go over and see if we could pull Mr. Mashburn in from Manhasset, who's sitting in the tied second place position there. So Mr. Mash, if you're hearing us, we're going to summon you out of your breakout room and bring you back in for a quick little Q&A, see how your team's doing. Your team will stay in the breakout room, and we'll just bring you back. So let's see if I can figure that out. I think so.
While you're doing that, let's
we actually do have the whole team at once, so that's kind of cool. They're coming in on one Zoom feed, so we'll actually get the whole team in there. It should be lively. So here we go. Moving him back to the main room. I can seemingly not.
We're in the Manhasset. I see the Manhasset War Room is just joined us in the main feed here.
Excellent. Yeah, here we are. All right, Manhasset, I'm going to ask to unmute you guys.
All right. Hi, everybody. Just going to turn the camera to face me a little bit. How is everybody doing?
Mr. Mashburn, Coach Mashburn.
Can you hear me okay, or is that too soft?
We could probably use a little bit more volume out of you.
All right, let me see if I can fix this. 1 second.
All right, well, tensions are high, I'm sure, for the potatoes. Congratulations, first off, on taking the halftime-ish prize there for the Capital Defense Project. Really impressive. And for your banner. So you guys are really coming to play with some art and some good teamwork. You feeling stressed over there?
You know, I think we're doing okay. Everyone's working really hard. We were enjoying our first place position for quite a while. We're looking to bounce back in a few minutes. But we're all very energized from the wonderful donation of the candy that was sent from Kid Oyo and a little bit of a sugar rush. Guys, are we stressed? Yeah. They all say yes. We were very fortunate in that usually most of our students are on a hybrid schedule right now, but we were able to have an exception and let our entire team in the same place. I'm meeting some of my team for the first time today, so it's really nice to see everybody.
Oh, that's cool. I have a question for you, Rob. You guys, I know over there in Manhasset, you roll out of bed and start eating code for breakfast, but how did you guys get ready for this hackathon? Was there any preparation that went into this?
Oh, yes, there was. For the past 3 weeks, we've met 2 hours a night, every night during the week. We had made our own little version of the Code Conquest with a specially designed map, 24 original challenges, narrowed our team down, and even after the team was narrowed down to our 8 people, we still had a lot of preparation and design elements to do. We have our sprite editors hard at work for commission projects from our other groups. We have our Python people focusing on those things, and our Hatch focusing on them. We did so many projects over the past month or so. We are coded out.
Coach Mash, you started out very fast. You know, kind of flexed your muscles a little bit. Now you're rolling in second place. Are you right where you want to be at this point? Would you like to be in the lead, or are you hanging back a little bit? Tell us a little bit about what your plan is without giving away your whole strategy.
You know, the past several contests, we've been the second place winner, and it was very close every time. The strategy we've seen some other teams do, and they sort of pull right into the lead at the end there. We thought about it, but I think we're still sticking with our strategy of basically going full force from the get-go. I have no problem with how we're doing so far. I'd love to be in first, but there's still plenty of time in this game to get there. So I think we're doing just fine.
Coach, how is your experience that you've been in hackathons before? How is that playing into what you're doing right now?
Well, the remote aspect is very challenging, as I'm sure you're all aware. Making sure everything was set up here and getting past the technical challenges of being in one room and trying to get everything together. Well, everybody else is, of course, all over the map right now. For the most part, though, the split this year, where we are no longer a one-team district, we're a three-team district. I used to be working with two other coaches in this team, and now it's fully on my shoulders. So I think I was able to guide the team a little bit in one direction that maybe our other two coaches may not have done so. But so far, second place seems like we're doing a good job of what we're supposed to be doing.
Is there a rivalry there between the teams, between your local teams?
Between our local teams, not so much. We're very supportive of each other. Our team here is going to be working with our elementary school teams to do some training. Oh, end of the period. To do some training before their hackathon, because they're involved in the elementary school hackathon coming up soon. So not really a rivalry. If we have a rivalry, it's with some teams that are in this competition right now without naming names.
Is there, tell us what it would mean to bring the cup home to Manhasset.
You know, we've heard a lot from our administrators and our other people in charge of coding around Manhasset that right now, the goal is to have fun. It's been a heck of a year. Everyone's been going through a lot. Right now, the goal is fun. But to bring the cup home on a year where we're just trying to have fun, well, wouldn't that be something? We would really love to see that happen.
Indeed, wouldn't that be something? Well said.
All right, great job. Good luck, Manhasset. We're going to let you return back to your breakout room now. I think you can take yourself back. If not, Mentor Doug will send you back over there.
I sure can. Thanks so much, everybody.
Awesome. Good job.
Coach,
All right, so next up,
take the time.
we're going to pull in the infamous Papa Stiggs, who comes out of Belmore Merrick. Oops. And as I mentioned before, Dev and I went into this classroom with Dan Stiglitz, who is the teacher there early on, because we saw something so unique happening in terms of how he was able to foster community and a sense of ownership over not only the students doing their own work, but over making sure that the students who were doing well were helping to pull up the students who were maybe struggling. And we saw some of the most inspirational things happening. And we actually went and did an asset talk together, took all the kids there. And it was today, as I found out this morning, thanks to Coach Stiggs there, sent me a message. It was exactly 2 years ago today that we had them in there. And so you've come a long way. I'd love to hear how things are going in your room.
Well, thank you very much for having all this and making it all work. It's been a lot of fun trying to figure everything out with the new logistics, but having 4 teams is pretty cool too in our district. And we have a 7th grade team and we have a mixed 7th and 8th grade team this year. And they're doing well. They're just like crunching numbers and running around, and some of them are just locked in, not looking away, freaking out when things don't save, but they're trying to pick their way around the board, figure out a way to get past IASA this year.
How important is it to have your team? Do you feel it's an advantage in a virtual competition like this to have them all in the same room versus having them remote?
Well, we actually have 2 of our kids remote. They were pretty quick to hop on and figure out how to get them to be part of this. And I think their main go-to was straight to Discord. So that way they had a quick way that they could chat and share things and go back and forth. And we have them up on a monitor just on the end of the table so they can see each other when they need to and flag them down. But they seem like a pretty good part of the team as well, whether they're in our library at the moment or not.
What is the team feeling right now?
It's gotten a little quiet. I think we got knocked off on a couple things, so they're trying to figure out their strategy to get back on the board, and they had planned ahead a little bit, so now they're bringing it back to lock those couple territories. So once they get past that, they can try to make it to the other coast.
How
we've got
important
the
is your team
support.
captain in helping with that plan?
Well, we have my one for the Improbable Monkeys. Zach has been fantastic. He's a really good strategizer. He'll tell you he's not our greatest coder. He's still quite a good coder, but he's really good at kind of getting the kids to think about where they need to move or just coming up with great ideas. And he'll get up and he'll move around, and we're all behind plexiglass and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little different this year, but we're making it work well.
How do the students feel about the competition itself? Are they looking forward to it?
Yeah, they've been really excited. It's funny, one of the kids, we just went and grabbed some lunch, and he just kept saying, I didn't think it was going to be this stressful. It's a lot, but they're excited, and it's a good level of stress because they're creating things and they're working under pressure for the first time, a lot of them, and the creativity that you can create under pressure sometimes is pretty cool with what we can see all around the board.
Do you like where you are right now?
In terms of,
do you like where you are right now as far as how your scoring's going and as far as what the map looks like?
I think what we've learned over the last 3 years is it's the last 35, 40 minutes that make the big difference. That first year the clock went down and we were on the top, and Syosset, had more attacks left than us. So I think those last 35, 45 minutes is going to be figure out what we can put in there. And there's our team captain, and try to hold down what we have or push past.
Words of wisdom from an experienced coach. You bring up the stress thing. As a parent, obviously as a teacher, we're always interested in paying attention to the well-being of these young minds who are so talented. And I know that I've had this conversation in many instances with my own son, as well as with obviously competitors and just people who are learning to code and do something that's hard. And I try to always look for analogies to this context of productive versus unproductive stress, right? And the idea that, the analogy I make for my own son is you got a steel girder laying on the side of the road and it's not achieving its purpose and it's not under any stress. But as soon as you put it into a building, boom, immediate stress, but it's on purpose. We know what we're trying to achieve here. I wonder, how do you feel about this type of a stressful environment for these kids? You see them processing it in a healthy way? Do you have to kind of help them go through that together?
Yeah, I think for some of them, they've never been under that kind of stress before. I mean, they've taken tests before, they've forgotten to do things and like scribbled homework on the way to class before. But I think a little bit of it is just like, take a breath, figure out where you need to move next. And I say that a lot in my classroom. It's just, they get frustrated. Computers are really frustrating all the time. So you just have to take a breath. Don't smash the keyboard. Just you can process what needs to happen next. You don't have to process the next 6 steps, just the one, and take it from there.
Very true. That's great. Well, I know your team and your school is lucky to have you as a coach. We're lucky to have you out there in innovating how you're working this in your classroom. We just appreciate you sharing with us what you're going through and what you're doing over there.
Yeah, thank you very much. You guys have been a phenomenal platform for all of this, and it's been awesome.
Thanks, Papa Stiggs, and
Thanks,
good luck
Papa
for the rest
Stiggs.
of the competition.
Thank you
Good
very
luck.
much.
Yes, I believe you can send yourself back in. If not, again, go ahead and
Okay.
we'll do
Perfect.
that.
Good luck.
Good
Thank you.
luck. All right, let's take a quick look at the map again. Looks like we've seen some changeovers again, and we've got Hop-Hog Golden Eagles pressing up on us now, taking over that top territory with an attack waiting against it. Looks like we got HBT and the 2 Syosset teams are tied and sitting in that first place position. Wow, you look away for a second, everything changes. So
I am certain more that they won't say it, but I am certain the Syosset teams are absolutely gunning for each other to see who can top whom. So really exciting stuff right now. Syo Code, I mean, literally grabbed almost the entire middle of the board right now. Pretty exciting stuff. And like as you said, the Hop Hog Eagles are on the move now. This was we knew that they were going to try to make a late run at it, and they're making that run.
Yeah, and the project complexity changes as you get over to the East Coast too, because there's some strategic territories over there that can unlock things that no other territory can. What we're probably starting to see here is some real strategy coming into play with that cross island move there that just happened. So, let's go ahead and let's bring West Hempstead in and get see if we can talk to Coach Perlow over there. She brought her team in for the first time last year. They were noobs in the competition, and they did pretty well for themselves, gotta say, for just rolling into the competition for the first time, not really knowing what to expect was pretty cool. So let's go ahead and summon Coach Perlow back into the room if we can.
And while that's happening, for any parents that are in the stream or will watch this later, I will say one thing about this idea of stress. This is kind of an important thing. When we start, we go down all the way into really young ages with these kids in pre-K, exposing them to coding as a topic of interest. And when we're working with young learners, we try to find a way to really bring this into their field of interest. And so game development typically is where that arrives at. Not always, but here in an event like this, you oftentimes have people that we're not necessarily athletically inclined, they're technically inclined, and so competition is new, and learning about sportsmanship and teamwork and all those soft skills that we might look at becomes vital to how well you can participate in an environment like this. But also, the pressure aspect. We tend to let the kids kind of tell us where their interests take them rather than pushing on this too hard. Learning how to program in Python when you're in first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade is an amazing thing to consider how young they really are. And while it's a thinking tool and it will help them approach the resiliency towards learning, really giving them the benefit of the doubt that exposure and then letting them find the interest is really where we find most of the big returns in the learning. Do we have Ms. Perlow here yet? Yes, we do.
All right, welcome West Hempstead and Miss Perlow, Coach Perlow. So looks like you guys are hacking away at the map as the hacking Houdinis. How's it feeling in the room? Tensions high? Hi. You're muted, Coach Perlow, so we have to, I'm going to ask to unmute you here. So you should see a pop-up. Go ahead and unmute so we can hear you. There we go.
Hi, sorry. We were walked away from the mic for a minute.
So I was saying here that this is now your second year entering the competition. You guys feel a little bit more comfortable and tensions high?
Tensions are very high here. Yes. Do you guys feel more comfortable?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they definitely do.
Some of them it's their first year.
Yeah, we have a few new members on the team, but the old members, they had a little bit of more of a insight into what we were going to expect today.
Coach, how is so you're on year 2, you had year 1. What are some lessons that you learned from the first year going into the second year?
We should be prepared for anything. That if you don't succeed the first time, you absolutely should try and resubmit a code, look and learn from what didn't work. And they're definitely doing that this year, looking at where they had an error or where they could do better, and that's helping them fail forward.
We heard that as a theme really throughout the competition, and really important to get across, failing forward. Can you give us a quick example of somewhere where that might have helped out along the way here today?
Yeah, Lucas, raise your hand. Lucas has been working on one code and he keeps submitting it, and sometimes we've won it and sometimes it's been taken back from us, and each time Lucas is going back, analyzing what he could do better, and it's the feedback he's getting is helping him become a better coder in just this short time.
That's awesome. I mean, I remember, and this was from, we just interviewed Coach Stiggs from Belmore Merrick. And I remember walking into his room the first time, and this one of his students, this young girl, came up to me and she said, "The first time that I ever got failed by a mentor, I was so mad. I was so mad." And then I realized, wait, I get to submit again. I can keep doing this. And then she realized that failing wasn't really going to be a bad thing for her, but it was really kind of cool to just hear her be honest about that process of seeing the failure, making you mad. And then it's about, what do you do in life at that point?
Exactly.
Do you quit, or do you get up and go again?
They're going to, and they're being inspired by some of students from the other schools. They're looking at the digital art and they're noticing the digital art. And there's been one student that they've seen the last 2 years, and they're learning from that student's digital art to make themselves better.
How important is that as far as collaboration is concerned with the other students?
I have my director with me. We're noticing that they don't want anything really to do with us other than to ask you to go get a drink of water. They're collaborating amongst themselves and deciding what they want to do. And I really love seeing this. The students are taking ownership of this.
And our captain is a true captain, like walking around, helping his teammates. And that's exactly what we wanted to see. So we're really proud of them.
You feel like it's a great spirit of teamwork. Is your whole team local, or do you have some remote members of your team?
No, we have everyone in the building. One of our team members, today is the first day he's back in the building in 1 year, and he's so excited to be back. So this was a great opportunity to have everyone together for this event.
Do you feel like that provides an advantage, having everybody in the same room? We've heard different feedback from different coaches.
Absolutely. Yeah. You could, like, everyone, you can see the students, they work off their body languages, and that's hard to get when you're remote. So when you're together, you give each other like these cues, and again, and body language says a lot when they're working together, and it really helps when they're moving forward collaboratively. So yeah, I'm sure if their kids were home, they can also contribute just as much. But it is different when you're all physically at the same spot, and you can see that.
This is Director of Tech Joe Conjemi joining us on there with West Hempstead, and really he's been attending these hackathon meetings and really bringing back all of the resources to the district, and I could just see the great things that you're doing, Joe, in the district to try to push forward the skills and opportunity for West Hempstead. So thanks for joining us today, and definitely thanks for continuing to bring all these opportunities into the students. It's been awesome to have you guys here.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you for bringing us Kiddoyo. It's been a game changer for our kids. It really has.
Yes, it's some children have soared beyond our imaginations with this.
Like kids that were introverted are they're just so outward now because of this, and because of Kiddoyo. So thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome to hear. That really is.
Good luck.
It's what moves us forward. So good luck, West Hempstead. We'll let you guys get back to work.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Hashtag Ram Fam. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Ram Fam, Ram Pride.
All right, you should be able to return back to your breakout room. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, again, turn your back and the map changes again. So now we've got a tie for second place with Manhasset and Southwoods, and pushing up close behind them is the Grand EXE coming out of Grand Ave, Bellamore Merrick, and Hop Hog Golden Eagles. And I know Hop Hog Golden Eagles behind the scenes right now are struggling with some serious internet connection. They're managing their stress well, but it is high tense. It's very tense when you are having your own internet issue on top of trying to submit for the team. So hang in there, guys. We know you're having problems, and just keep at it. Don't quit. Oh my goodness, and another upset just happened. Looks like HBT took another territory, pushing them back up into the lead. But as we've seen, just because you're there now doesn't mean you'll be there in 5 seconds from now. So everybody keep pushing, keep going. You're all doing an awesome job. Next up let's see if we can bring in Harbor Fields. I'd like to bring in Coach Karpinski if we can. Coach Karpinski is, she's actually was an assistant coach last year behind Coach Lockwood, and it looks like she has taken the reins this year. So this is really kind of a new experience for her, and she's joined by assistant coach Aherns with her Harbor Fields team. So let's see if we can get them into the room here. Have we summoned them? Harbor Fields District is Harbor Fields District. And
Laura, they say defense wins championships in sports. You're seeing a lot of good defense right now. We just have 5 successful defenses in a row now. Every time I say that too, we always see somebody turn the corner on the offense here, but we do see 5 defenses in a row really moving.
Okay,
So what-
so looks like we've got Harbor Fields in the room now. We're gonna ask to unmute you. So we have, is this Coach Karpinski with us right now?
Coach, I think we're going to get them in a second here.
Okay,
Laura,
yeah.
a lot
have
of
to
real
go to-
estate, a lot of free real estate still on the board. And again, there's a couple strategic places, like you said. Now it's a cat and mouse game to see who's going to move in and move out on some of these spots.
Yeah, it's interesting because, in some ways the teams have to decide between a strategic spot, but it might cost them more time to put towards building that project versus trying to take something that's open. This year we've been pretty strict about putting in what the minimums are, minimum requirements are. So we're seeing a little bit slower of an attack rate, and I think that means better quality projects are coming in. But it's it's a tight competition going on. Do we have you back with us, Coach Karpinski?
Yeah, I can't really talk or hear you guys. This computer's just not working with Zoom, but I can type to you guys.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll let you head back to your
Yeah.
room then, since we can't do the interview with you. Good luck to you guys. We're watching you. Don't give up. The map's going to keeps changing. I see you guys are crushing with putting attacks in, so just keep at it.
All right, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Wow. So, man, what a day. I think just every time I look up, it's just this continual change. I love that about the map. The color coding of it really gives you a strong visualization about what's happening, and you can just see how much effort is being put in, and what that feels like to be a team, attacking, defending. And look
Well,
at this!
Laura,
Wow, new upset. We see East Williston, Manhasset, Mineola, and Grand all tied for third place right now.
we're all bunched up right there.
All
Or
bunched
as far as the evolution of Code Conquest, and again, this being the first year that it's fully virtual, tell us a little bit about the evolution and is the activity you're seeing now, is that similar to the activity you've seen in the past, or has it evolved?
Well, when we first started this off, it really just came out of, Lord Wiper, Zen coming up and really being interested in battle and history and trying to push us to make some more interactive experiences that met kind of what he thought the interest of the kids were. So we created challenges, we drew things on the whiteboard. We still had a lot of advanced kids, but it was fewer. The pool of advanced kids was small back when we started. Now what we're seeing now is the sheer amount of kids with skills that are hireable. We're talking big time skills. We're talking about, kids who are using really advanced tool sets that we don't normally see approached. I think you can see a little bit of that on the CCEDU conversation wall, maybe a little flexing going on from our coders, talking about what their tools are going to use. But I'd say the main change is you can hear it in the admin, you hear it in the board members and the coaches we've spoken to, is they're taking on this big challenge in a very serious way, and we're seeing the results of their efforts showing up in what is happening in a day like today. And today is different because in the communities themselves, the kids are following learning paths, and the learning paths give them courses and then some challenges to assess whether they understood that course material. In a competition like today, you kind of have to rip off those confines and those tight lanes that we put up. And this is pure creativity where these kids can do anything to solve that defined challenge and take that territory and flex their skills in a way that they don't normally do when they're just following the learning path. So I think that's a big learning curve that they're seeing too. And oh my goodness, we've got a tie for first place, HBT and Mineola sitting at the top. Wow, this is getting really exciting. Second place tie with Syosset Southwoods and Hop Hog Golden Eagles. This is getting tense.
You could absolutely you could hear the cheer coming 40 miles west of here to see the masterminds pull in. I'm sure that the whole school is going crazy for them. Really close though, very tight competition here. If you look, even the towards the bottom, they're only 4 points off from the lead. So this could change dramatically. I mean, we could even see the board get flipped. So this is just a wild turn of events. I love the strategy here. I love the strategy on some of these pieces of the board here, where you can see that people are trying to leave these 2 open territories, but go after the 2 in the middle. Gives you 2 jumping off points. Just a great way to go at it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that like you said, the closeness of the race is intense. And also, you mentioned something else, 40 miles west of here, right? So all of us here are on Long Island, and I think that's pretty cool too. This is something really unique in all the world in what we're doing, and it takes every person. It takes the initial people to say yes, to figure out how you're going to plan it in. It's not easy to figure out how to put this into flow in your school. It's not something that's been kind of pre-conscripted by anyone. So, the admin have to figure it out. They have to give the right support to the teachers, and it's unique. It's here on Long Island, and it's here on Long Island only. And I think that's really exciting for everybody here. Okay. I think we, Doug, I'm not sure if this is you or if this is Trish that's doing this, but we have HF Hackers and Dara Perlo are still here. They need to be sent back to their breakout rooms. If we could try to get them back in there, that would be great.
Okay, let me give some context to what's happening on the map right now. Obviously, things are very tight and clumped up in terms of where teams are positioned. We're seeing teams move towards the east side of the island, where there's some strategic territories that they can accomplish. Looks like Mineola is touching one of them right now. There's a small little island off the east coast that gives them full access to the entire east coast, if that is something that they're able to seize. And we are at 41 minutes and 45 seconds to the end of the event. It's a 3-hour timeline for the entire hackathon, which in and of itself is kind of a unique thing for hackathons. Hackathons are typically 24 hours, 48 hours, 72-hour events where people don't sleep very much, and they kind of collaborate together in that timeline. Here we've compressed it down to 3 hours in a competitive event. So that's kind of unique in that sense. The final 30 minutes are going to allow capital attacks, and this is where their capital defense projects will come into use. The teams that hold territories on the western side of the island will be able to attack any territory, any capital that does not hold a territory on the map. So those would be represented as having a number 1 next to their name. So they're struggling right now to try to get a territory on the map so that they can't be attacked. Otherwise, they're vulnerable to those attacks. And then other teams are jockeying for position, trying to make sure they hold the Western territory so they can issue a capital attack. And then at that point, our capital defense projects start going head to head. So we're about 10 minutes away from seeing that start to happen as well. And obviously, we've got a lot of movement on the board. This is anybody's game still. We've seen teams rise pretty quickly, even in this event. Mineola and Hopog were down at the bottom just about 10 minutes ago. So here we are up at the top.
All right, so let's try to bring in another coach here while we can. I know we've got a couple that we're still trying to push back out. It looks like we got Harbor Fields back out, and we're trying to get you back out here, West Hempstead. We can't actually see you on our side. You might be able to pull the return on your own to send yourself back to the breakout room. We'll help where we can. Let's go ahead and see if we can bring in Coach Attard from Bethpage. Let's see if we can get the Bethpage team in here, the Cyber Eagles, if we can summon them into the room. Coach
Attard.
Yes, Koshi Attard. Okay, let's see if we can get him in. Yeah, so these guys joined us last year for the first time as well. So they're second time competitors coming in. And this is led by Coach Attard, who in here is Kayushi Attard. Let's see, do we have him in here yet? Maybe Koshi Attard doesn't know. Are you summoning him, Doug?
I imagine he's probably pretty busy right now, and I'm sure he's probably a little tense. So be patient with him, everybody out there.
That is true. All right, well, maybe we can pull in someone else who's sitting up here in our top spot now. I know that there's been some, I'm gonna stay away from Hop Hog for a little bit until I maybe get an okay that we could go in there. But what about SciO Code? Can we pull in the coach from SciO Code? That is Miss Coach Burke, who was part of the SciAsset team for the first year that took the trophy. Year one, the middle schools were combined. We didn't really have the space to allow for teams to split out. Once we came into this year and we could go in this virtual space, it really allowed us to have more teams compete. And we saw the SciAsset district split last year. And so Coach Burke was part of the original champion team. And now she's heading up her own team over with SciO Code. So they're at Southwoods. We're going to see if we can bring them in for a quick conversation and to see how things are going. Let's see. Having problems with that one, Doug, too, or?
While we're doing that, I want to remind everyone to follow us on social media, hashtag Code Conquest 2021. Also post on the wall. A little while, I'll read some of the comments, some of the more colorful comments on the wall. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, great. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because you almost hesitate to go into some of the rooms and you don't want to break any of their focus. They certainly are. I know that these kids are certainly paying close attention to what's going on, and pulling them away might buck us. It wouldn't be the first time.
One of the funny things I saw this morning was when Dev was giving some of the opening addresses, I did see as far as the teams, you can tell the teams are getting a little chippy. One of them made a comment about how many tabs Dev had opened on his on his computer when he was giving the instruction. I thought that was great.
I saw that. There's no shortage of harassment from the young teammates. It's always been fun to see that, though. It keeps you in their world. I know we have a lot of team collaboration happening, so these kids are managing multiple things. They've got their Discord servers open so they can communicate, plus the ones who are in the room, plus whatever they're using on their own personal OYO class walls. So it's pretty exciting to see, their adeptness, obviously, excitement. Looks like we are having some trouble pulling some of these teams back into the room, but looks like we've got Miss Burke coming with us right now. So if you just hold on a second, she's just joining Zoom and connecting her audio, and then we'll get a little feel for what's going on over at the Southwood School District.
While we have that break in the action, I definitely want to give a quick shout out and a thank you to Long Island University, one of our sponsors today. Big part of the success of this hackathon, and we're grateful to Long Island University for sponsoring the hackathon.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
It's about 35 minutes left.
35 minutes left, which means in 5 minutes, this game's going to change, because if you are not on the map right now, that means that you are subject to an attack on your capital. So teams are likely scrambling right now to try to get themselves on the map, last minute attacks. And all right, so it looks like we might have Coach Burke in the room here with us.
Yes, sorry, we only had the Zoom open on our screen, and if I accepted before, I would have lost my captain who was in the breakout room.
Ah, good.
No
So
problem.
I had to rejoin on my laptop.
Okay, good. Well,
we
we're glad to
appreciate
have
taking
you.
a few minutes.
So we're like, biting our nails right now.
I bet. Big competition. how does it feel to have the two middle schools split now? When you came in the first year, you guys came in as one united team. What do you think about that? Is it the kids like it, or?
Oh, well, I mean, both schools have competition with everything in the sports teams and with the coding, and so they definitely prefer the two teams, so that way they can compete against each other, so that way they can decide which middle school is the better one.
Yeah, bragging rights.
That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
We appreciate you. It's funny, we speculated that earlier in the broadcast that might be the case. We appreciate the fact that you were honest about it and shared it with us. In the realm of, you've been here before, how important is your experience, your championship experience, I might add? How important is that to you right now as we get close to the final 30 minutes?
What happened?
You hear me, Coach?
Yep. Yeah, we lost you for a second.
I said, how important is your championship experience going to be in the final 30 minutes?
I think it's helpful, but every year, because we do a pre-qualifier competition, every year, even though people were on the team the year before, they don't necessarily make the team the current year. So every year we have a totally different team. So although I might have the experience as the coach, all but 2 of our students are new to the competition this year.
Talk about that a little bit as far as the importance of your captain.
Well, and it's interesting because our captain is a virtual captain, so he's our only remote student. So, he's been very good. Unfortunately, he does have the experience that he was on the team last year. So he's been working on making sure everybody's communicating with him and making sure, they're telling him what they're working on.
That's great. I think, it's always exciting to see it. You guys have done such a phenomenal job of really fostering the sense of community and individual voice of the students. I see a lot of students lifting each other up. And what I think has really stood out in these Syosset communities that we see is really the kids pushing each other to push their own full project development forward, and they've created their own studios of sorts.
Right.
They've got their own history of bragging rights, and then when you see a picture of the size of the kid, you're like, how does all of this come out of that little body?
Right.
Really
And
impressive.
and it's interesting to be in the same room with them today, because normally we're like, we were, in the auditorium seats, or, in the bleachers last year. So to be here and to listen to them talking to each other and helping each other out more than we were able to do in the past, it's good to see how well they work together.
That's a really interesting point. This is the first year that the coaches are actually with their teams. So you see a big impact on that?
What's that?
You see a big impact from that then?
I just think it's fun to see them working together, because it's like normally they're at a table, they're further away, and we may walk over and just say, hey, how you doing? Is everything okay? And, so it's good to see how well they're working together and they're communicating and helping each other with their code. It's fun to see that collaboration.
That's awesome. All right, well, we're going to let you guys get back at it. We're 23 seconds away from capital defense projects being eligible, so I know it's a crucial time.
Yeah.
Good luck, guys, and you can return back to your breakout room.
Thank you, Coach.
Perfect.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I was going to say we're in the 8-second countdown here to capital attacks opening up. I'm about to press the button to enable this. 3, 2, 1. Capital attacks are now allowed for the last 30 minutes of competition.
Excellent. And how the map has changed again, and we see East Williston Wildcat Hackers moving into that 3rd place position there. We've got a tie for 1st and 2nd. East Williston climbing up. It's exciting to see. I mean, it really goes to show, do not quit, kids. This map will continue to change. It will continue to challenge you. So excellent job. And even as I say that, I watch the screen change in front of me again, and we're seeing SIO Code sitting in the third position. And we've got a tie right now for fourth. So these teams are sliding up and down, up and down. Got Ed Kemnetzer here from Wildcat Hackers. I can see him there. How you feeling over there, Ed?
We're feeling great.
Tension's high, kids are doing good?
Yeah, kids are working hard, strategizing. And the best part is I hear a lot of compliments to each other and trying to strategize, like, you're good at art, you work on that one. And it's such a great day. I love it.
Ed, when we would run our Code Long Island events, we'd have parents and kids show up together. And it was often hard to keep for parents to keep their hands off the keyboard. How you feeling about that? You having itching to get your hands on the keyboard?
Yeah, it's very inspiring. I got to say that.
Nice.
And
we love having you here. So thanks for being with us.
I'm noticing a lot of goatees today. Matt Gavin, I see growing in goatee. We have already Matt Pamara and Dr. Nagler, so it should be a nice goatee competition. We should have a goatee award next year.
I would definitely beat that jabroni Nagler with my goatee. So, although I've seen him grow a pretty serious one. Ed, how much of a strategy was it for you guys to make your move late?
Well, we were looking at one territory that if we grabbed it, we can then move down the East Coast. So we're looking at that right now, and we're trying to grab that territory, which then gives a path to victory. So we're strategizing. We have some things in our back pockets, and we'll see what happens. Syosset and Hackset, they're tough.
Chat us up a little bit about what it's going to mean if you can pull this thing off.
I was walking into the middle school today. We have this nice display case when you walk in the front door, and it's empty right now. There's one shelf there that's awaiting to be filled up. So hoping that will last there for a year. We'll see. If not, I was texting Dr. Gately and I said, I'm so competitive, but at the end of the day, when you see what the kids are doing, they're working hard. And just like I said before, the comments to each other, it's just great to hear and see. And one of the things that we always talk about in education is SEL and social emotional learning. And, it's built into the collaboration and the coding as well. So, it's not just about computers and screen time. And it's just really great to be in the room.
You have a great spirit of teamwork, it sounds like, over there. As far as what else can we expect from the Wildcats for the rest of the round?
Well, I have to tell you,
Dr.
Biedman's here with me, and she's done such a great job in getting these students connected and prepared, and the communication back and forth with the team members. I know her guidance and her leadership has a plan that's going to come out soon. So Devin, thanks for holding that trophy up as Ed inspiration. And I got to say, Matt, you've done such a great job. It's like, it's almost tense with you on it in a good way. It's, I feel like the NFL draft almost. You're like the Mel Kiper.
I'll take that as a compliment, and I appreciate it coming from you, pal, and means a lot. I really appreciate you taking a couple minutes to talk to us. We want to wish you the best of luck on the competition. Is there anybody that you got your eye on that you're a little nervous might sneak up on you from behind here?
Well, looking at the layout of the map, the Mineola masterminds are to be feared right now, in my opinion, as well as the Pythons, the Syosset. So if we could penetrate those two areas, like I said, I think we could have a path.
Awesome.
We just saw a three-way tie sitting at first there for a moment, and now we're back to looking at that two-way tie for first. It is literally neck and neck. Oh, we have some capital defense attacks on the map. Oh, looks like people are trying to knock some teams off the map. So when you see the numbers come up over the fish, this means that that team is currently not holding a territory on the active map, which makes their capital defense project vulnerable to attack. These teams are ruthless.
Ruthless. Yeah, you know, our trophies are large. We tried to go after the Stanley Cup model here. We put little plaques on the side commemorating past winners, and that'll travel around to the winning schools that can put it on display. And
Dev,
it's
I'll
quite
take
an
I'll take
impressive
a
little
video.
trophy.
I'll take a video this summer. I'll be on a boat and I'll throw it to another boat like Tom Brady.
Okay, I'm gonna have to see that video. I definitely want to see that video. And we're back to another first place three-way tie. Manhasset is not going to give up. They are fighting for that top spot. It is tense battle.
Well, now Mineola is using an interesting strategy because for all the teams, we have three unclaimed territories on this map, and the first submission to those territories wins it as long as they achieve the criteria. So for Scio Code Southwoods and Mineola and Improbable Monkeys, they have control over the pathway to those territories. It'll be interesting to see if they spend time on capital attacks or going after the low-hanging fruit.
Hey, Dev, how rare is it that you would have this late in the competition 2 open territories?
Well, last year we had one that remained open for the entire event. It was a more difficult challenge involving the use of a library and Python programming language. So we try to create a scale of difficulty for some of these challenges. So if they size these up as requiring skills that maybe aren't as strong on any individual team, then they could certainly sit unoccupied. But this is more than we've had in previous years. So we'll see how that influences it.
You know, Matt, and this is another place where we see some strategy come into it too. Teams can switch out their capital defense projects if they choose, and some probably had another one in their pocket waiting. So that's something that we're going to wait and see how that unfolds as well. Some people might feel pretty confident in attacking those capital defense territories, and they might be surprised by what comes out next. Also, if you do get knocked off the map, that's your route back on. You can always come back on and keep reapproaching your own home capital territory, but that's your only way on if you get knocked off. So I'm sure all those koi sitting with the numbers on top of them are feeling a little squirmy at the moment. All right, so we've got 21 minutes here. I'm wondering if we might be able to get somebody else in to tell us how they're doing. I'm gonna probably leave alone the ones who are fighting for their home territories right now to stay on the map. We haven't heard anything out of Grand Ave yet. This is Coach Biancardo and Coach Soul over here with these two teams. Maybe we can call let's call Coach Biancardo in, and maybe we can get the both of them coming in together since they are in the same school. See if we can summon them back in. That's Grand Gamers and Grand.exe. And just as I say that, Grand Gamers just moved up a notch, pushing Grand.exe down. So this is another inter-district competition within the same school. So tensions are tight there. So let's see if we can bring them in. While we're summoning them in, looks like the map attacks have lit up again. So we're going to start to see those last minute strategies. What have you been holding back for the last 20 minutes? What have you been, what do you have a second project that you're swapping out? The bait and hook has happened at this point. I mean, I've seen countless strategies at this time.
Yeah, by this part of the event, typically if you've got some long-standing territories that haven't changed hands in a while, that means there's a project holding that's pretty substantial. And so the teams will strategize to move around that and see if they can't seize another territory. Those 3 unclaimed territories are a real opportunity, but so far no one's been moving on them. So we'll see if that comes into play. There's a lot of attacks on the map. I can see one of ours up there on the E1 territory is blinking, meaning it's the next one to be rendered, waiting for judges to give the results. But I'm sure the judges are feeling a little bit stressed right now with the pace picking up, as it always does in the final 30 minutes.
It seems to me that grabbing those 2 territories would make a lot of sense if you're in that position. Is it again, I'm just surprised. I know that last year you said there was 1 extra territory, but I'm just surprised that we don't see those territories being gobbled up.
It's true. We got a little bit of a chess game here. There's the glory of knocking another team off the map with a capital attack, which I'm sure is an alluring feature. The teams are very excited about the opportunity to do that, but there's some easier lower hanging chess moves on the map to be made. So it's gonna require some captains to prioritize their decisions.
All right, I've just been notified that the summoning back in of Grand is not working on our side. So we're going to try to let's try to see if we can pull in Eastport South Manor. Maybe they're our furthest out here on the eastern part of Long Island.
Closest to me though, so I'm happy.
Closest to you, yeah, pretty close by. We'll see if we can bring them in. This is a new coach this year actually joining us. I believe she's new to the district in this role. So she was willing to take on this team. Oh my goodness, what happened?
We have a
Out
new
of
leader.
nowhere, Manhasset jumps into first place. Anyone's game. See, now this is some strategy play coming into effect as well. It is tight.
We knew that at some point that they were going to take another shot at it. After talking to the coach, we knew that they had a couple tricks up their sleeves. So we're seeing that right now. They just pulled ahead of Mineola, just pulled ahead of SIO Code. So again, this is going to be down to the wire. Unbelievable. We're just under 20 minutes. I want to remind everybody, follow us on social media, hashtag Code Conquest 2021. As the ESM hackers at some point.
All right, looks like we have Eastport South Manor joining us here, the ESM hackers.
So we're seeing that right now. They just pulled ahead of Mineola, just pulled ahead of
somebody, if you can mute your live stream, ESM, you are giving us feedback from a delay of our own.
To be honest with you, I like the sound of my voice, so I was hoping that we could listen to it, but I probably better not to. I agree.
Now, I will say we've had a couple of teams be knocked out of their capital by some successful capital territory attacks. For those teams, in order for them to come back on the map, they have to retake their capital territory. So this is where the advanced planning comes into play. And they could have as many capital territory projects as they were able to create and maybe hold some in reserve just for this kind of a situation.
All right, let's see if we can hear from Eastport now. I'm not sure if it's going to work out with us with the audio or not, but we'll give it another try. So Eastport, you guys are the furthest ones out here on the island. You have a new coach. How you feeling this year? Feeling a little tense right now, I bet?
Yeah, it's a little tense right now. We're excited. They're really working hard right now, trying to get in our last few projects.
Nice. Can you tell us what it's been like leading up to this? What kind of prep have you had to do getting your team ready?
Students have been staying after school twice a week to really prepare, and they've been practicing the different languages and trying out new projects just to get creative and accustomed with the program.
Nice. Now, how much experience did you have with coding before taking on this role of coach?
None.
All right. So good for you. What made you say yes?
So I'm teaching a STEM class, which is the intro level to Hatch here for the 8th grade students. So I decided to take on the junior high division.
Nice. So what do you think is your main takeaway from the event? What would you take away for next year?
So I would say that next year, now that I'm a little more accustomed to it and understand the layout of the challenge, just like really getting the kids to dive deep into the other programs. A lot of our students are really more comfortable with Hatch. So just getting them to learn the other Python and Sprite Editor a little earlier on in the game.
Coach, are you excited at the progress that your team has made?
Yeah, I'm really, really proud of them. They've been working really hard and they're all working really well together. So it's been fun.
Without giving away any of your strategies, you have any tricks up your sleeve yet? We're down to the final about 15 minutes. Anything else we can expect from the Sharks this late in the game?
I think at this point it's pretty I mean we had a few that we used, but I think at this point that this is kind of what it is now.
How important was your tech team?
We have some submissions in that are waiting, so.
Nice. How important was your tech team in getting you guys prepared for this?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
How important was your tech team in getting the room ready and getting you guys ready for the competition?
was very important. We had to roll in a big screen for our kids to see the map together. All of our computers, right before we started, they all crashed. So we were trying to get those up and running, and the tech team was really helpful and supportive, and they got us up going.
Yes, thank you, ESM Tech Team. They're the unsung heroes in every school, right? We don't necessarily see them, but they do all the behind the scenes work. We love you.
Absolutely.
Well,
All
good
right.
luck as we come to the end, ESM. We're always
Coach.
rooting for you.
We're pulling for the East End secretly. I'm pulling for the East End. So let's see what we can do.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks, guys. We'll send you back to your room, or you can kind of return back there on your own. Wow. So here we are. Like I said, maybe Doug, if you could give us a view too, so we could see who's up in the
Can you
top.
scroll up, Doug?
Yeah, Doug, if you could scroll up just a little on your main map view.
All right,
Okay,
so Manhasset has
ahead.
pulled ahead by 2 points in the final 15 minutes. Still too early to call it. And we see a grouping here with 6 points each, and Hauppauge with 4. I mean, really, we've seen a lot. If one territory switches hands, it's a double point move. Anything can happen.
Yeah, in fact, we're going to pull Hauppauge in next, right in their final moments, mostly because I want to see Coach Ferreira in his top stress performance mode, see how he's handling the final moments here. I know they've had a lot to overcome. They had some, like everything will, from when technology can fail, it will. They had some struggles early on, heard tons of teamwork, motive, and innovating, and how they're going to continue to get those projects loaded. So we're going to bring, let's see, we have requested them to come into the room. So while we're waiting here, you can see again, so the map has changed again. Now we have a definitive first and second holding the map. Manhasset sitting with it. Oh, didn't even get it out before we're at a tie now. Manhasset has lost a point, and we've got a neck and neck tie again with HBT and Manhasset. This is really a showdown. And Mineola right behind them with SIO Code tied for that second place position. Mineola Masterminds and SIO Code. So many attacks on the board that we are nowhere near knowing who is going to take this championship.
I could see SIO Code. You could start to see SIO Code strategy right now. Oh, and we got another change. But you could see SIO Code strategy right now. Really, I think they're right where they want to be, and I think they're going to be gunning for that top spot.
Yep. I see what you're saying there. We just saw another change where it looks like HBT has gained another point, giving them a 2-point lead. Once again, not over till it's over. Lots of attacks pending out there. And we're joined now by Coach Ferreira from the Hauppauge Golden Eagles. You recovering over there, Coach Hauppauge? I know you guys had some struggles. How's it going? How you feeling?
We're feeling good. We're just looking for that last minute push that's about to come. We got a lot of challenges, I think, submitted, and the judges have a lot to do over there. So we're just hoping that they pull in our favor when those decisions come in, and we could hopefully see some gold moving up the board.
Coach, as far as, go ahead. I'm sorry, Melora.
Is there anything that your team was kind of surprised to see? Anything that you felt maybe unprepared for?
I don't actually. I feel like I have an experienced group. A lot of them, this is their third hackathon. So there was almost a level of calm, which is disturbing for the coach to see sometimes when you want them to be a little more excited. So the stress that some other schools had, we had a little bit of urgency right off the bat, and then we settled in and launched some attacks. And that's what it took a little bit to get us on that West Coast. And now the challenges started to, or the program started to come out. So, but I think we have a good variety of skills. So I feel like they were prepared on all fronts. We have a lot of fans of HTML and a lot of fans of Python, which is always a good thing to have in your back pocket.
Coach, with 3 years of experience with a seasoned group, do you feel like you're in a good spot right now, ready to make your last big push with as the clock, we're down under 10 minutes?
I do, especially with the positioning of the capital defense projects being available. They were ready for that. which last I saw, I think we're still up there, having taken over a different one. And they know about the last second push that always ends up coming. So it seems like we've been, you know, have some projects ready to go. I don't think we have any advanced strategy in that we're holding anything back. I just think it's more of the pressure is not as taxing to them. They're used to it almost at this point. No surprises.
What would it mean to you to pull this off in the final 10 minutes?
Sorry, what was that?
I said, what would it mean for you to pull this off in the final 10 minutes?
Oh, it would be huge. You know, I think to see these kids where they came from, being our first group to really come through the Kid-Oyo experience from 6th grade to 7th grade to 8th grade, to see the growth. Our first year, we came in 8th out of 10, which was just kind of a nice little showing. It was a good experience. And then last year we moved up the board to 5th. So it would just kind of culminate that whole 3-year middle school process of them being able to claim that championship, the bragging rights, the feeling like we were moving in the right direction at all times. Even if we don't win, it's still a tremendous opportunity. It's still tremendous experience. They're you know, doing things that no one's ever seen before in this district, and really pushing forward STEAM on a whole, which is a testament to what we have going on over here. I have a little pride in that. So it would be kind of that crown on top and make us feel really good about what's going on over here. Either way, it's still a lot of fun. So that's what's most important, and they're getting a great experience.
Coach, anybody you'd like to shout out? You had mentioned the district support of STEAM. Anybody you want to shout out over there?
Oh, well, you know, obviously it starts near the top with the superintendent and assistant superintendent. So Dr. Murphy, assistant superintendent here, has been really big of STEAM advocate, and was spearheaded a lot of this alongside Dr. O'Hara. And then right on down the line, we have Doreen Gordon is our chair, and Rob Wankmuller has helped out with and Dr. McCarthy. All the people in the top positions that you need pushing for this are pushing for this, and that makes you feel really supported as a teacher. It really helps out to know that you have the district support as you build a curriculum, and that's really what we're trying to do. And it's a useful tool. It's fun. It's creative, and yeah. And then right down into the teachers, I have Mrs. Thompson, Ms. Mullen here with me, and there's other teachers in the district that have pushed through with Kid-Oyo and helping us out right down into the elementary school and up to the top in the high school with Mr. Huffnagel, Mrs. Becker. A lot of great people that all believe in this and have fun with it, and they know how important it is to help the students going forward.
Well, coding's definitely a team effort. Is it true when you told Dr. Murphy that you were into coding that he thought you meant moss coding and he started tapping the desk? Any truth to that?
No comment. Next question.
Oh, that's amazing. Actually, I'll just pin off that too. Dr. Murphy brought us in and really let us present what we were doing to his whole team of teachers that could possibly be involved. And that was unique for us. It's a little bit of like, being under the microscope or the spotlight, but it gave us an opportunity to really see what he was trying to achieve with this. And I'll say, that Don Murphy has been not only a huge support for us in this, but he's really created this openness and support for his teachers. The training that he has enabled for them, the amount of time they've gotten to spend with us has made all of the difference. And some of the, just most amazing things we've seen come out of that as a result. And Doreen and Tim McCarthy and Doreen Gordon too. Like Brian said, like what Coach Ferreira said, the team, they have been intimately there, making sure they're constantly evolving the curriculum. We have lots of meeting of the minds to make sure that that's on track, and that's crucial to keep everybody on the same page, keep pushing forward, keep looking at what do we do next year. So I'm excited for Hauppauge as a district. You got a great team of leadership. You've got amazing coaches in there. And we're going to let you guys get back to it. We're
Thanks,
down to the last
Coach.
5
Thanks for your
minutes.
time.
Yep, I'm breaking in 5 minutes. Let's get Mr. Ferreira back to his team. We have a tie, which is not going to be a thing when we get to the end here. If the clock reaches 0 and all judging is complete, we still have a time. I'm going to extend the time until we have a winner. And once a winner has been declared, the map will close and the winner will be declared. So we are coming right down to it. We've never had a tie It's always resolved itself naturally. We can extend the time where need be, but we're inside 5 minutes, so we're right up against it. You are muted, Mr. Pomera.
The potatoes and the pythons are tied for the top of the leaderboard, and we do have the masterminds right behind them. Not too far behind them is the SIO code. And again, I do feel like there's going to be a couple tricks up Hop Hog sleeves. So we got a lot of real estate left. 4 minutes to just about 4 minutes to go here. It's going to be a very exciting finish.
It is, and we still are waiting to see, do we get a last minute attack on those unclaimed territories from Southwoods or Mineola? Could change the map dramatically.
Can you explain how that would affect the scoring if those territories are claimed?
Yeah, well, in those cases, it would be an additional point for the teams that claim them without reducing another team's point. In every other instance, if you are winning a territory currently held by another team, it's a point reduction for the team that loses the territory and a point gain for your own team. So we see a 2-point swing in some cases. So in this case, if you're Mineola or Southwoods, you're sitting behind by 2 or 3 points. You got those territories. Claiming those could put you up in the lead or tied for it as you come to the end. If you take a territory away from HPT Pythons or Manhaxit, then it could be a 2-point swing and change everything dramatically. And even for a team like KP Keystrokes or Hop Hog, it could change the map dramatically very quickly here.
Well, and down the stretch they come.
And there is a lot of attacks still on the map. So even after the timer comes to an end, the game still won't be over. All the judging will continue. The game itself will continue even once all judging has been rendered. I'll then look at the score, and if I need to extend the time just to allow the teams to keep fighting it out until we have a declared winner, we'll do that.
How much time is left?
It says right above your map, 2 minutes and 22 seconds.
No,
right
like
now.
after the 2 minutes.
Well, we'll see if there's a winner after all.
Please, when you're returning back into the room, just to make sure that we don't cause massive loud chaos in the mics of everybody. Okay, so now what's going to happen is teams are no longer able to submit. You can do no more. You've done all you can. Pat yourselves on the back, stretch out, drink some water, get ready. We're going to watch as these last results come in. So in the back room, we have all of our judges. Our judging team is made up of our internal Kidoyo team, as well as some of these mentors that you see every day giving you feedback on your challenges. Oh, looks like we're starting to see some changeover. We just see Manhasset taking the lead by 2 points there.
Yeah, let me explain the process that's unfolding right now. So the app has closed submissions. No territory attacks are able to be issued at this point by teams. Judging progress remains intact. They are going to resolve all of the outstanding territory attacks shown by numbers on the territories. Once those have been resolved, we will look and see what the point totals are. If we have a tie, I'm going to reopen submissions for a limited period of time to allow that to resolve itself until we have a winner. And we're only going to have one winner. There can only be one conqueror of this map. No ties. I can't split the trophy in half, so we got to resolve this to one winner. And once we have that, then we will finalize the results and declare the winner. Manhasset, we've been in this shoot before, but we're seeing a little bit of experience out of their captain, most likely holding some stuff back to the very end here. And you can see the results.
This is always a dangerous strategy. I've seen it win and I've seen it lose. It's an interesting strategy, though. It really just goes to show that you got to be ready, and that team captain has to manage their team. You can't just put all your eggs in one basket. You got to plan, and you got to strategize, and you got to be ready for what's possible, what's coming.
And you can't count out HPT Pythons because they've been here before and they've claimed victory, snatched it right out of people's hands. It's just anyone's game. Mineola is right there. What is going to happen? We see an attack on one of those unclaimed territories. Was it Southwoods or was it Mineola? We don't know yet, but we'll see. The blinking #1 that you see down there on one of Mineola's territories, that means that's the attack right now that judges are still looking at. It's queued up as the next one to release, but won't be shown until all of the challenges that were checked first, typically because they were easier to check are being completed. And so we're going to see a map update shortly. And there's still a significant number of capital attacks that could influence points as well.
And before the map wraps up, I'd like to say thank you again to our sponsor, LIU, who is helping us build new opportunities for younger and younger students. We've launched a dual enrollment program where kids can now get college credit in computer science through working with Kidoyo and LIU. It's a really exciting partnership. We piloted it with Mineola, Dr. Nagler's brainchild here, and we are happy to be part of it. It's really exciting, and we have our youngest group of students going through right now the Python, Introductory to Python computer science course through LIU. So it's exciting to see that these kids are going to be earning college credits, starting to prepare themselves for the world they're entering into. So we're thankful for you. Thank you, LIU. Also want to give a big shout out and thanks to the Dom King. Thanks for showing up, volunteering your time. This is part of Cisco's initiative to help nonprofit organizations by donating time of some of their top key people. So thank you so much, Matt Pomera, our Dom King, for joining us today, and for Cisco for allowing him to be here.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Mentor Trish, you can go ahead and let the rooms back in. Let's have everybody come back to the main room.
Okay, and once I do that, I'll pull everyone back in, and then I just have to create a separate breakout room to allow the mentors to finish checking, but I can pull everyone back first.
Okay, that's great.
All right.
Really goes to show an event of this scale requires a lot of back-end coordination in this digital space. We've got a live stream running, we've got multiple breakout rooms, we have all of the judges judging, we have our developers watching our server loads, making sure that we're not having any issues. This just goes to show, I'll give a shout out to our developer team for really nailing it with this, led by mentor dev here, mentor Bo, leading our dev team into creating this amazing map that can take all of this massive amount of project work in, and it's holding strong. So that's always a stressor on our side. Aside from what the teams are stressing out about, we stress out that we keep you guys all alive and running. So,
and look at what Manhasset is doing. Doug, if you could move that hover off the screen real quick to let us see. We've got so many successful defenses, but Manhasset has stretched their attacks out, put some distance between them in second place.
wow, Devin, it's like you said, we saw this strategy before. We saw Manhasset play these cards once before, and it doesn't always pan out the way you want it to. This year, it looks like it's bringing them home. They have 12 points. They got a 6-point lead. Doesn't mean anything. There's a lot of attacks still on the map. Second place tie. Look at that. Second place tie. Mineola Masterminds and HBT Pythons. It's very exciting. Big up to Mineola. They keep building their team stronger and stronger. I know they put a lot in this year, and it's really showing now as we come into this final stretch.
It's funny, you think when we build these maps and we lay it out, we try to strategically think about how our team's going to assess the territory neighbor relations. This map doesn't look anything like I thought it was going to look. We thought we were going to see a much different view, but Manhasset has grabbed the north and the south, and they're holding it strong.
Let me say this too. When you walk away from this event today, kids, hold your heads high. You are doing something that no one your age is capable of doing except for you guys. So it's amazing. We are impressed by what you're doing. We watch you, we see you, and we know that you guys have skills that are really commendable. So hold your head high. If you don't take first place, you come back next year, you come back stronger.
And yes, there is the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. We've all felt it one time or the other. If this is new for you, then welcome to the club. You're going to iterate on these results and come back stronger next year. Like I think was said earlier, we have an elementary hackathon division this year. We have this junior division and a high school division. So it's going to be interesting to see how, as some of our competitors have aged out of the junior division, they're going to be potentially in our high school division where the challenges become a little bit more rigorous. See what kind of results come from having previous experience there as well.
Dev, what do you think the coaches are saying right now in the back rooms?
Well, I would think that if it's anything like what I've managed in running our summer programs, it's usually has something to do with processing what is happening through all this effort the kids have put out, and everybody wants to win, right? So what does it mean to be putting forth all of this effort? It really is just tremendously innovative and impressive. And maybe the results didn't show up the way that you wanted them to, but it's not an indication of failure. We think of failure as something to avoid typically in our schooling experiences, but as programmers, we kind of run towards the failure and learn from it as quickly as possible. We just couldn't write effective programs if we didn't. And so in that vein, I hope and I think that all these coaches are helping the students understand that this is a learning experience, and you get stronger and you come back better, and next year is a different experience. And not only that, but we take it back into all the rest of our learning and try to apply these lessons in a meaningful way.
Anybody pleasantly surprise you in today's competition? Jump out at you?
Yeah, I'm really, we've had, as I assess these results, Manhasset, HBT Python, Mineola, South, Hopog, they've been in this position before. KP Keystrokes, they've been in this position before. Some of them that are new, I think, for the hacking Houdinis and Harbor Fields and Crash Test Dummies. I mean, they're right up against it because not only did they have to try to get prepared for an event that, we're explaining it to them as a second-hand experience. Now they're in it and they understand what they're up against. So the preparation will change, but just being able to dive in and take this on, that's impressive for the students to put everything they have into it. Such an impressive experience. So we've got a few more. It looks like we got one more challenge to be checked on our mainland. And then we've got capital attacks to process before the final results will be rendered.
So this is definitely going to go down to the wire.
Oh yeah, it's going right down to the final moment. And I'll just, I want to echo what Dev said too. There's so much to be learned in this competition, and now it's not often that you get to size up against somebody in the coding world. You don't always get to compare your skills to somebody and really have something to push yourself forward to. And the best learning of computer science happens when you can apply your skills to something. And this is just a great opportunity where it's not just meeting somebody else's expectations of what you should do. It's really removing all of the barriers of limitation and just do as much as you possibly can. Show off skills. These kids are building new skills every day, getting ready for this. So it's cool. We have another community, CodeLI.org, which we have been running for many, many years. And we have kids from all over the place, all over Long Island on there. And they get to learn from each other, challenge each other. There's student mentors in there. So they're creating challenges and pushing each other forward. So it's really creating this bigger community spirit for the island as a whole. But the skills they're building, it's all I attribute it to them. These kids are pushing themselves forward, and it's impressive to see.
That's a good point. I was going to say one thing. There's 10 student mentors, Kiddo student mentors across Long Island right now that are carrying a credit card branded Kiddo student mentors in their pocket. They have exceptional skills. They've taken on leadership roles and they contribute those skills in live virtual events as well as in summer programs. And one of the things we're looking at in these times of chaos a little bit here between virtual and in-person learning is even for this summer, how do we support schools providing opportunities to students, and can we put mentors next to these students in a productive way? Sometimes you can go to learning events and you're learning from somebody that doesn't necessarily have the full agility of a language under their belt that might be pulled from students into the experience. And so, for all of us, there's a long process of learning not only how to program, but how to teach, which is equally as hard. And sometimes even harder than programming, in my opinion, because you have to empathize with the learner and you have to be able to feel whether what you're teaching is being received, and then find different ways of explaining those problems. So, CodeLI lets these kids come together from different districts and lets families come in and see the experience and understand what is being taught and how they can engage this at young ages and then scale that up. And there's opportunities. We're constantly assessing students for internships and for the student developer mentor opportunities. So, this is just kind of the beginning of where it goes, but we can see into the skill sets and see what these kids are capable of.
What would you tell school districts that are thinking about joining the hackathon?
Well, it's open to everybody. It's eligible for BOCES aid. And so there's really no reason to not participate. I think that, we tend to focus on root skills at Kiddo that have tangible methods, age appropriate to people, rather than getting stuck into more of a cookie cutter pop kind of learning format here that you might see in other places. So bring in your skills, bring kids with an interest in this into this kind of an environment, I think can only instigate interest and instigate enthusiasm for the subject. So we'd love to see more and more schools participate.
Dev, looking at the board here and on the right side of the screen, we see, again, 5 straight defenses.
Yep.
I mean, how much of a factor is that?
Yeah.
How much of now 6? How much of a factor is that
Well, as you get to the end, time is ticking, right? You feel the pressure. You want to throw a project out there as an attack, but obviously some of these projects have already taken in some substantial effort from teams. So defeating them at the last minute isn't easily done. And you can see a lot of the defenses with that shield, they are successfully defending their territories. And as we come here, all the attacks on the map are complete. So we're just working through the judging of those capital attacks at this point. And you know, it's a challenging thing to try to defeat a substantial project in the last 5-10 minutes of the event. That's where the captain and the strategy comes into play. You can have all the best programmers in the world, but really there is a time feature here. So if you hold them back, like we just saw Manhasset pull off, you know, you create a little distance at the end with some strong projects. It's almost insurmountable in some ways. They are looking strong as we get to the final four. We're down to the final 3 projects to be judged.
What's clear to me is that a lot of these teams, you know, held back some of their heavy, you know, their heavy coding firepower to the end to turn back some of these attacks, because it's, you know, pretty cool to see, you know, the strategies here and how it unfolded. Also, the board is lighting up with comments, which is great. I see everybody getting excited here, as you can feel the tension mounting.
Yeah, and we'll do some back end event analysis on those territories that didn't have attacks, and talk to SIOS at Southwoods and Mineola about why they didn't go after them, and see if we can't learn something to improve maps and make them even more competitive. It's always good to get feedback directly from the students about their learning experience or their production experience, right? This isn't a consumer experience, right? We're all producing with our skills here. So finding out what prevented movement into some territories will be interesting and inform us, and as we build our own curriculum to try to build skills where there might be weak spots.
You know, as my first hackathon, I have to tell you, that was the biggest surprise to me. When I was looking at the map and looking at it, I figured those 2 territories would be gobbled up in the last 30 seconds just to get the quick points. So that is a good question. We're definitely going to have to find that out moving forward. See another turn back here.
We're
Another
about to see the
successful
winner
defense.
revealed here any moment. We've got the judges are down to one last koi fish, it looks like. And then we're about to see the map display the winner here. Tensions high. Well, like you were saying too, Matt, you can see all those defense. It means these kids just never gave up. It's a never say never kind of a mentality going on. They just pinged and pinged and pinged right up till that last minute. And literally any second, we're going to see that last judging submission be finalized and see if we have I think it's going to be pretty impossible for the winner to lose their position at this moment, but we might see a shakeout at that second place position. Right now, we're still sitting at a tie between HBT Pythons and Mineola Masterminds. So that tie is sitting right there, and we see the Southwoods and Hauppauge sitting as a tie for 3rd place. So we're seeing some teams move up. I think this is Mineola's and Haupauge's.
And we've done it. There's a winner.
There's a winner. All right. Congratulations, Manhasset Potatoes, on your first victory of the Code Conquest Junior Division. We will be setting up time with you guys to bring you that amazingly big trophy to display with your prizes that go along with it. Great competition today. Congratulations to our 2nd place winners, the 2nd place tie between HBT Pythons from SIOSIT and the Mineola Masterminds. Excellent job, guys. 2nd place, pulling it out. And our tie for 3rd place goes to SIO Code Southwoods and the Hauppauge Golden Eagles. Excellent job. Wonderful work today. Amazing, guys. And congratulations. You should all go home proud.
Yes, and this will be a fun one to watch back. We will have a live replay preview of how this map evolved over the last 3 hours that people can watch back and speed up and slow down. What an exciting event. Great job to everybody.
Everybody, this is great. I'm really glad to be a part of it. Congratulations to the Manhasset Potatoes. Big move big win there at the end. You know, got out to an early lead, fell back a little bit into the pack, but you knew when we interviewed them that they did have a couple tricks up their sleeve and they were able to pull right back into the leaderboard. So congratulations to them.
Thanks, Matt. And thanks again for being our awesome MC. We're excited to have you back for the high school one. We'll be distributing that information around shortly for live streams and such. Hope everybody here will join us, especially if you're moving up to the high school next year. Check out the competition. You guys will be in that spot next year. Great job, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. And don't forget, April 9th, mark your calendars, the high school division, April 30th, the upper division. Thank you again for having me. I'm the Cisco Cyclone, turning it back over to Melora and Dev.
Thanks, Dom King. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to all of our mentor judges who just clocked in, I'm sure are exhausted. We'll report to everybody how many projects were created during the course of this event as soon as we get a chance to run the numbers. And we'll let you know exactly what that looked like this year. But that was a competitive event, very much fun. So kudos to everybody involved.
Yeah, good job, coaches. Thanks for bringing these kids to this competition and for fighting the good fight. See you next year.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good job.
Bye bye.
Bye, thank you.